Okay, right. Hi. Okay. So good afternoon. We'll yeah, another 1 minute and we'll start. So just before we start, anyone who's from my physical classes who are regular students at ISM or ISM Nugegoda or Headway Negombo? Any physical class students? Answer. Anyone who's joined new to the physical classes and joining with these our what I call as up to speed sessions. Yeah. Okay. Then yeah, doesn't matter. Both times are live streamed, so you have the option of joining either class, either online or physically, and I keep them exactly parallel. Okay. So we'll start in a few more minutes. So we'll have a small chat as we go along in the beginning and okay. So what I do in my theory classes is I keep my two batches exactly parallel, right? If I finish a topic in 1 week in one class, I'm going to finish that topic in the same week. I mean, in the next class, in the other, I mean, in the next week in the other class, right? There's no, I mean, I stop exactly where I stopped in the other class. So if you are missing one class, you have two options. Online people, of course, you can watch the recordings. Physical people, of course, you can request a Zoom link or the recording if you are missing. So I'm giving you those options because my principle is students remain as long as the teaching and the quality of the service I provide um, is good. Yes, so it's a service that I provide. Yeah, you are receiving my service, that is education and guidance for English medium A-level biology. Okay, so whether I'm doing it online, whether you are meeting me physically, doesn't matter. It's up to you to, I mean, I'm going to try my best to give you the best to my, I mean, to the best of my capabilities, the service. But of course, you have to be in touch always. You have to be in, be aware of what is happening in the class. Okay. So the minimum requirement at this point is, okay. So whether doesn't matter if you are joining brand new or you have gone to several other classes and you have been sort of browsing classes. That's good. It's this is the time to do that. Classes වලට පොඩ්ඩක් එහෙට මෙහෙට ගිහිල්ලා හොයන්න තියෙන time එක තමයි මේක. Not in another year's time. තව අවුරුද්දක් ගිහිල්ලා class හොයන්න බෑ. Yes. Then at that point you have to establish yourself. path එකට වැටෙන්න ඕනේ. Now it is the time අර Google Map එකේ if you are traveling to a destination, you enter your destination, then you see, okay, there's going to be several routes. So you can see to go to the path, I mean, to the result you want, you have several class options. You can either go physically, you can go online. There are several bio teachers, there are several physics teachers, chemistry teachers, right? But you always check our estimated time of arrival, fastest arrival, and the distance. You check those factors, right? It's like that. So you still have to make a logical decision about your classes because they are going to, I mean, they are a tool that is going to help you to go to your result. Okay, so keep that in mind when in this stage of your A level life. Okay, it is good to be searching. It is good to be looking for things, sort of let's say trying out, experiencing. I think one of the things I did, I regret right now, particularly for biology, is I didn't look for much options. Okay, I didn't go for many classes. Many classes means not at the same time. I didn't look, I didn't go to other teachers and see what they are offering, right? But be careful of what you look for in a class as well, right? So you can join for several sessions and see one thing, okay, at the speed that they are doing. Okay, so right now we have taught A-level biology for like 4 months now. We have started since you finished your O-level and we have been teaching. So you can check in the theory class, where are they going right now? There should be a proper balance. One thing, you are either going too slow, that is to do what? To get maximum students as much as possible. ඉන්න ඔක්කොමලව අරගෙන අපි තාම මෙතන යන්නේ. So you can still join my class එහෙම. and in this class time they do a lot of extra other things just to keep it attractive, right? In the end, this is not an attractive game. It is a game of what? Deciding how, what is the result that is going to, what is your qualification that is going to get you into your degree that you want to do, right? ඒකට qualification එකක් හදන්න එකට මේක කරන්නේ. So in order to do that, this is just a tool. This is not something you have to sort of get attracted to. But yes, that journey has to be interesting. That journey has to be uh, I mean, you have to live your life, no, for another 2 years. Yes. So try to look for a balance. And in other classes, they are going way too fast, because as you will understand, this subject has a textbook. Biology has a textbook for A levels. Okay. So that textbook is everything that you need to write in the exam. The textbook or the resource book contains everything you need to write in the exam. Okay. Therefore, what you really need for A levels is proper teaching. Teaching that you will understand what is given in the resource, not going out of the resource. That is one end, and the other end is you are just reading the resource book, okay, without teaching concepts. Okay. So in one way, you are writing down exactly what is given in the resource book in your own notebook, and that is, you are saying it's not taking. No, we have to do questions, we have to write essays, we have to practice what you will be asked from the resource. There is no use writing exactly the resource. So that's what I do. I do essays I mean, as much as I get the chance, I do essays, I do MCQs, I do model questions, I give warm up papers, I do cool down papers, right? So all of that will happen. You are still just in the very beginning of this journey. So I'm sort of glad that you are joining these our up to speed sessions, because okay, I will come to explain what I mean by what I plan to do in my up to speed sessions. Okay. So this is our very first tute. Okay. So okay, I think everyone has joined, so we can start the session properly. In our up to speed sessions, this is my plan. I didn't do this for my 27 batch or my 26 batch. Okay. This is something I'm starting brand new, because what I feel like is new students who are joining, they feel left out. They didn't get they didn't get a full, a proper start into the A level biology. So that's why I started this. So I think most of you have received at least the PDF, or if you have enrolled to my website, or if you are a physical student, you have received 3 tutes by now. Okay, you have received 3 tutes by now, a blue one, and also our 2 sort of purple color 2 tutes. So this up to speed sessions, what I am going to do is I'm going to introduce you to introduce you to my class structure. Okay. That's something I want to do in these sessions. Okay. Then I will teach you what I have done in these 4 months in a way that is very precise, but it's sort of a summarized. Okay. So my main goal is to complete the tutes with you. Complete the tutes. Okay. So my main goal is I'm going to complete the tutes with you. Okay. In these sessions. Then whenever you are studying once these sections that I am going to teach, you will have a complete note. Complete note means the short note that we are going to make, and also you have a completed tute together with the resource book that we have gone together. Okay. If you don't have tutes, that's a small delay with the delivery. Okay. So I will be providing the recording. Just note down whatever I'm telling you today. Then as soon as it will be delivered within the week, it's a postal delay that is expected in Sri Lanka, but don't worry about that. Okay, we have several upcoming, we have a few more sessions coming up. By then you will definitely have the tute. Okay, so don't worry about that. And okay, so as soon as you enroll to the website, the tute delivery process will start. Okay, so Don't worry about not receiving, they will come. Okay, so we are going to complete the tutes. Okay, that is one of the main goals of these sessions. Okay, then what I want you to do is, since you are joining these sessions, you can join with our regular theory class. So I will tell you where exactly we are in our regular theory teaching. You will understand. I always try to keep a balance between going too fast and going too slow, because biology is a balanced subject. You have to keep it nicely balanced. Class එකේ නින්ද යන විදියට boring වෙන්නත් බෑ. Class එකේ අනම්මනම් කියලා ඉවරලා you can't waste time as well. Can you understand? I can't waste time keeping you awake, but I can't I can't bore you to sleep as well. So I have to keep a balance. That's what I try. So the things that we have covered already. So we have two lessons. So the first lesson is introduction to biology. Okay, so intro to biology, that is a very short session. Okay, so in your teacher's guide it is allocated only uh, two periods are allocated to cover this session. So that one we will be covering today. Okay, then the second lesson is the bulk. I mean, it's a giant of a lesson. One thing, not because it's a long lesson, you will understand in your A level paper, a lot of questions are asked from the second lesson. That is because many students are familiar with that lesson because it's the second lesson. So they have gone to classes properly in the beginning of their A level life. So they know the second lesson well. Okay. So therefore, if you take an A level paper, up to 10 questions are from the second lesson, right? It could be more than that, up to 10 MCQs. Okay. Then if you take the second paper, one full structured essay question out of 4, right? I will shortly explain to you the paper structure as well. One full structured essay question, and the usual method is, the tradition is one full essay question. So the marks allocation wise, this is 10 marks, this is 5 marks, and this is 7.5 marks. So out of 100, about 13, about up to 25 points of 100 could be from the second lesson. That's why it is important that you sort of become an expert in this lesson. It is going to have a very good advantage for you in your actual paper, because in the end all we are doing is preparing for the A level paper. Okay, in the end all we are doing by going to classes, doing papers, going to revision classes, right, full night seminars, everything, right, special seminars, practical seminars, everything we are doing is we are preparing for the paper. That is our end goal. The enemy, or it's not an enemy, but it's our destination. So everything we do, we have to keep in mind, if I am doing something that is going to be a benefit for me in the paper. Okay, so therefore you have to have a way understanding of how each lesson is, how valuable each lesson is. Understood? Okay, so in the second lesson I divide it into several subsections. The first part is what I call as biological molecules. So under biological molecules, including water, you have 5 biological molecules that you need to know. Okay, so that out of that we'll try to cover up to lipids today. Okay, that's the plan I have in mind. We'll see how time goes. Okay, then after biological molecules, we have a section called microscopes. Okay, we have microscopes. Then we move on to cellular structure. Okay, so cellular structure, after that is finished, we move on to cell division. Okay, so this is what we are going to cover. We are going to cover the first lesson and all these parts of the second lesson in these up to speed sessions. Understood? In these up to speed sessions, this is our to-do list. Okay, these things will be covered in our up to speed sessions. So In our theory class, this month we started enzymes. Okay, so that those recordings will be provided to you, enzymes. So I will be covering until the end of cell division. That is going to be mitosis, meiosis, and also cancers, tumors, those kind of things. Okay, any questions? Do we need to buy the resource book? Yes, you need to buy the resource book. At this point, I mean, if you join with my classes from the beginning, my very first tute, that is the tute that we are going to discuss today, this one, I included everything from the resource book in this tute. But that is not my usual style. Okay, I don't usually print out the entire resource book because it's not mine to print. Understand? The resource book is not mine. Okay, I know some teachers print it and distribute. Okay, but it's not mine to print and give it to you because you pay me a fee. So I'm sort of indirectly selling you the resource book. I can't say do that. So I only usually include the resource book in my very first tute because you need time to uh, purchase the resource book, purchase or get a printout. Okay. So my tutes don't usually contain any uh, thing from the resource book directly. Okay, so this is an example of what I include in my tube. This is the second tube that you must have gotten the delivery of. So it's going to be mainly a short note. Okay, so there's a question, important one. I want to study your tube, you want to study the resource book. Okay, that is the first rule of this biology game. Okay, I am obliged to teach you the resource book. All right. My job is to help you understand and study the resource book. That is my role as your biology teacher. Can I cannot make that more simple. Okay. My job is to help you understand in whatever way that is possible to clarify, simplify, help you memorize the resource book. That's my goal. That's my job. Okay. So don't, I mean, in my tutes, there's nothing, I mean, I don't directly give you a note. What we do is we make short notes. So, for example, if you are studying the cytoskeleton, we do a comparison from, I help you to organize information. But at the end of the day, you have my tute on your side, but at the center of your table, may say mother, you need to have the resource book. Got it? Okay. Is the entire syllabus in the resource book? Yes. The entire syllabus is in the resource book. I always say this. So the resource book could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on having this exam entirely focused on a resource book could be a good thing or a bad thing. One thing, you can be sure nothing will be asked outside the resource book. Resource book there will be nothing questioned. Got it? That's a good thing because some students they know, they have limited access to other resources, right? Even right now AI is there, but not everyone has access. But if you have a PDF of the resource book, then you have all the information you need. That is one thing. Nothing will be asked outside the resource book. But everything in the resource book will be asked, can be asked. Okay. What are the two rules? Everything, nothing will be asked outside the resource book, but everything in the resource book can be asked. Okay. That's the, those are the rules of this game. Okay. What are the units these sessions will cover? I think that I answered that. Yeah, we'll be covering up to cell division. Okay, I'll send the introduction to biology tute. I think I sent to groups. Okay. Anyway, I'll send. Physical students who joined within this week, I think I gave everyone that was there. Online people, they are on the way. Okay. I okay. So I'll send the tute to the Zoom chat. Okay, so you can access it from there. Any other questions? in my tute, you can't, I mean, I'm not okay. So the thing is, you need my tute is only a help for you to study the resource book. Okay, that's all I'm saying. My tute is going to help you study the resource book because it is going to break down information, it is going to organize information that you have in the resource book. Okay, so as I said, have the resource book in the center of your table when you are studying. Have my tute on a side. Okay, because I'm there to interpret and simplify the resource. I know that sounds unlike any everyone else says, but that is my job. That is the reality of A-level biology. So as I was saying, this is what one of my typical tutes look like. There's a lot of space for you to make our own short note, and it's all color diagrams because I know biology is a very visual subject. Can you understand? Biology is a very visual subject. Without even having colors, you can't visualize it. What I rely on is I want you to have a picture of everything. If you are studying the origin of a cancer, I want you to have an image. I told you there is one cell that is going to undergo changes. If I'm teaching you on how a cancer spreads, I want you to remember, okay, in the tute, I had a diagram like how these are cancer cells are spreading. Then if you're studying about this sort of cancers in plants, I have included a diagram, right? Whenever you are studying cell cycle, you need to have a visual idea. Okay, this in this phase this happens, in this phase this happens, like that. Okay, so everything is properly structured in the tube so that you can, I can cover everything while giving you a nice visual idea. Okay, everything is planned like that. Okay, this is the tube. You will be, this is from the second lesson. Okay, so we'll cover up to the cell division in this tube. Then in the theory class, we are, I think we finished enzymes, right? Last 2 weeks. No, in the Thursday batch I didn't. In the Saturday batch I finished. So in this Thursday I'll be finishing enzymes. Okay. So that's it. Any other question you have to clarify before we move on to the how to cover enzymes to catch up with your my normal theory class. Okay, if you're a physical student, I have sent the enzymes recordings already to groups. Okay. Uh, then if you're online, of course, this month recordings are available to you to watch unlimited number of times. Physical people also, you can watch them whenever you are free. Yes, of course. My all I write is, that's a good point. Okay. In my class, the only writing book you need to have is a CR book to write essays. Essay writing book. Okay, so keep that in mind. The only book you need to have is an essay writing book. That is where we are going to write regular essays. Sometimes I give the entire marking scheme on the board. Sometimes I send them as a PDF to the group so that you can have an idea what a marking scheme looks like. Okay, so both things will be happen. No theory book, no theory writing book. The tute, so I usually have two tutes. This is what I call as the diagram tute. Then there's another tute that I'll send to the group that is going to only contain questions, categorized past paper questions, and together with some practicals that I need to cover. Okay. So then practicals wise, I have covered, with physical demonstrations, I have covered practicals from microscopes and also biological molecule identification. That is available in my YouTube channel. That will be sent to you. So you can go through that after we have covered these molecules. Okay, the theory of the molecules. All right. Anyway, anything else you want to clarify? Anything else before we move on to introduction to biology? Taggala, Taggala. Yes. Yeah, we'll be covering until enzymes. Yes. Anything else? Enzymes included. Okay. That will be an additional session to my original plan. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, I'll cover enzymes in these up to speed sessions as well, because if you, yeah, I'll cover enzymes as well. Okay, fine. So we have to join your regular class. Yes, the regular class goes on. The regular class goes on. We have two theory classes, Thursday, Saturday. You can choose either one. Okay, the regular theory class goes on. These sessions will stop. I plan to cover everything in 4 sessions. Okay, so 3 more Mondays. Okay, I'll give you some study techniques. Okay, as we go along. Hurry. Anything else? Anything else? Yes. Anything else? Ah, okay, right. Okay, right. So as we go along, after some time, we'll have another small chat. Okay, so you can ask you some questions about how is the experience been so far. Okay, all right. Introduction to biology. Okay, so this is our very first lesson. Okay, so if you haven't received the tute by now, don't worry. You can access the PDF and just follow everything I say. Okay, so this is actually the resource book, so you don't need to have resource book for these parts. But by next week, please uh, take a printout, or you can buy it from the Ministry of Education. There's a bookshop. Either way, have a resource book as your personal copy. It is your the main tool in your biology subject. Okay, your resource book. So keep that, figure that out. And what I like to say is invest in a resource book. Invest. That means if you're getting a printout, get a nice printout, get it nicely spiral bound or something with a hard cover. Keep it nice. Product cost එකක් ගියට කමක් නැහැ. Save some money and from your pocket money or something, and get a nice resource book. Okay, got it. All right. So we have some. Then another thing I want to tell you before we get into this is, in the resource book, we'll be, I mean, we'll be writing small things in the resource book, and mostly we will be highlighting the resource book copy that you will buy. Okay, so for highlighting, I want you to be very neat, because you can't erase highlighters. So I want you to be very neat. I want you to have a color dedicated for definitions. What do you mean by definitions? Those are the things that are explaining a certain biological concept, and in the paper you have to write definitions exactly. Okay, so the very first definition we'll encounter in the syllabus is kind of here. It's a science. Biology is a science which is focused on the study of living organisms. Okay, so when I was doing A levels, I used to have green color for all my definitions. That is the color I dedicated. I did not highlight anything in green color except definitions. Understood? So keep that in mind. Biology is a science which is focused on studying of living organisms. So in this first lesson, Introduction to Biology, we are going to mainly focus on a single word. Okay, we are going to focus on a single word, mainly life. Okay, this. We are going to try to define life. Then we are going to scientifically identify how to separate living from the non-living. Okay, I'll teach you as we go along. If you ever become a doctor or someone who's related to forensic, right, you will be, your job will be to determine one day if someone is living or dead. So for that, we are laying the foundation here. Karita, keep reading. So bios and logos are the two parts of the word biology. Okay, the word biology has two parts, bios and logos. Okay, so they can ask you in your first term test papers, what do you mean by bios, what do you mean by logos. Okay, okay, right. So concept of life is not very easy to define. Yes, it could be spiritual. Okay, according to your religion, life can have so many definitions. Okay, life is something special and unique. Okay, that cannot be explained by laws of chemistry and physics. Okay, it's a very complex subject and vast. What I like to say is biology is the ultimate applied science. Okay, biology is the ultimate applied science. The ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ maths කරන අය මේ ඇවිල්ලා කියයි okay, everything in the universe is maths. Yes, it is correct. Everything in the universe is explained by mathematical concepts. Then the first application of maths is physics. Okay, how matter and energy behave. Then chemistry is the study of matter. Yeah, so it's an applied physics. In your biology, we apply everything. We apply the knowledge of physics, we apply the knowledge of chemistry, right? So many things are applied to form this study of living that we call as biology. Okay, so you can argue, okay, you are only learning the philosophy, but we are learning the application. As humans, what do we need? We need to be able to apply what we learn to make the human life, humanity better, right? That's why we learn. Okay, so biology is a very applied science. Okay, that's why it's kind of, it's a vast subject. Biology has, it's like the ocean. It will like, it has no limits. Okay, so it has been divided into three primary branches. These three primary branches you need to know. What are the three primary branches? Okay, you have the study of animals. Okay, you have the study of animals, that is called as what? Zoology. Okay, so send me answers whenever I'm asking. Okay, you can write in front, study of animals. Then there's a study of plants, that is called as botany. Okay, it's the study of plants. Then the things, all the things that we consider as invisible to the naked eye, okay, those are studied under microbiology. Okay, so you can say it's the study of microorganisms. Study of microorganisms. Okay, complete this. Study of microorganisms. Then we have some areas of study. These things can be questioned in the paper. Okay, please complete this. Zoology is the study of animals, botany is the study of plants, microbiology is the study of microorganisms. Okay, in this class we have a lot to cover in this up to speed session, so I'm not going to go slow. Okay, but I will of course keep everything very clear as possible, but I will try to stick to the things that I have to tell you only. Okay, this is not some sort of a show. Okay, right? I know the online classes can be very let's say full of let's say, I don't know, a lot of things are done to keep it attractive, but at the end you are learning a theoretical subject. The theory matters. Okay, all right. Zoology, study of animals, botany, study of plants, microbiology is the study of microorganisms. Keep that in mind. Okay, then we'll move on to some areas of study. Okay, cell biology, as the name says, it is the study of cells. Okay, you can write in front, study of cells. So the proper word for cell biology is actually what we call as cytology. Okay, cytology. Okay, cytology is the study of cells. Okay, histology is what is made out of cells. What do you made out of cells? Study of tissues. Okay, study of tissues is called as histology. If you like tissues very much, you can become a histopathologist, who's someone, if you have, if a surgeon finds something in while doing a surgery, he thinks it's a cancer, he can take a small sample of it and send to the histopathologist. He is going to look at the tissue under the microscope and say if it's cancer or not. Anatomy. Anatomy is the, you can say, study of gross structure of the body. Study of gross structure of the body. Okay, so anatomy is a subject that you will learn in the first year if you go to medicine, but if you do something like human biology, okay, you will also learn about anatomy. That is the structure of the human body. Gross structure means the macroscopic appearance. That's the big picture. Okay, because the smaller scale things you learn in histology, right, and cell biology, right? So anatomy is the big, how everything gets together, how your digestive system is formed, how your muscular system is formed, all the names of the muscles in your body, right? Physiology, okay, is a study of function, function means what? How everything, all the reactions in your body, okay, how everything works together smoothly to keep you alive, okay. Biochemistry, it's a closer look at all those reactions, okay. So study of biological molecules is called biochemistry. Then genetics is something that I have given here, something I will quickly explain. Can anybody know this person? Because I know I was standing next to him and there's a bit of a resemblance, because I have straight hair. This is someone with what we call as Down syndrome. This is something that you inherit due to genetic issues. Okay, so this is what it looks like if you take this child's one of his cells and you take out all the DNA, then you can organize all this DNA into what we call as in genetics, it's a karyotype study. Okay, that you will have in the lesson genetics. None of these are out of syllabus. None of these are out of syllabus. You have Down syndrome in your syllabus. If you take a look at him, his DNA, you will able to see he has an extra piece of DNA that we call as a chromosome here. Okay, that is why he is having all this. What is the main thing with Down syndrome? They have low IQ. There's not as they are a bit slow. Okay, they are mentally impaired. Okay, then they can have sort of physical signs. They can't talk much because their tongue is big and their mouth is small, and they have sort of a flat face, and their nose is sort of wide, and they have straight hair, and their eyes are having a unique shape because they have a extra eye fold under their eyes. So those are the things that is caused by just one extra chromosome. So you can say this is why this child is having all these features because of this minime extra chromosome. That is what we study in genetics. So you can say genetics is studying, sorry, genetics is studying inheritance. Finally, I couldn't explain these diagrams, but I'll come back there. Finally, biology is not all about this living organisms itself, but we have to talk about where the living organisms live, their habitats. Okay, so ecology is also there. We have a lesson called environmental biology. It's a very nice chill lesson. After you have done so many things about how our reproductive system works, how the female reproductive system works, very complicated. Okay, and how the muscular system, bones, and how your hormones work, everything, we come to a very quiet lesson, that is environmental biology, ecology, right? So what is the ecology? It's studying the environment, different ecosystems, from your arctic ecosystems to the deserts, everything we learn under ecology. Okay, quickly take this down. So while I'm writing, I want you to take down, otherwise it's going to take some time. Hurry. Then I'll quickly explain what I have in these diagrams. This is something we learn in anatomy, right? This is something we learn in anatomy. Okay. This is a real human specimen that I took from one of our textbooks. Okay. This is what we call as a sagittal section. Sagittal means if I stand here and if you slice me in this way and open me up, this is what it's going to look like. Okay. Not right now. If you cut me right now, it's going to be fresh. This is someone who's been preserved. Okay. So if you go to medicine or do something sort of related to the human anatomy, you will have to face an exam like this. What they will do is Mehema, they will put a sort of something like a arrow or a pin, right? They will put a pin here, and in the exam they will ask, okay, what is this structure? What is the nerve supplying this structure? ඔන්න ඕක තමයි අහන්නේ. So what are the things can you identify here, Taggala? What can you identify? Yes, this is your tongue. These are your lips, of course, right? If I zoom in a bit, okay. This is the inside of your nasal cavity. Then can you see your inside the nose is very complicated, ne? That's why you get blocked nose nikam, right? Whenever you have a dust or there now, you are going to get a blocked nose. Okay. Then what else can you identify? The brain structures, of course, you don't need to know. This is what we call as our kudamole or our cerebellum, that is controlling your sort of ability to balance yourself, ride a bicycle, those kind of things. This is the spinal cord. Okay. This is the starting point of the spinal cord. This is your vertebral column. And the vertebral column, that is your backbone. Okay, vertebral column. Then I think you are very familiar with this structure. I mean, the main structure, can anybody tell me? This is in your sort of upper neck, throat. This the tube that is going in front is our trachea. All these are in the syllabus. Okay, nothing. Usually, I don't teach anything outside syllabus. Okay, this is structure is called the trachea. This structure is your food tube. There is the tube that is esophagus. Can anyone tell me what is this? This blue color structure? Yes, epiglottis. I think you have in your O-level syllabus because I did the O-level seminar, biology science seminar. Okay, this is epiglottis. Epiglottis helps you to not die every time you eat. Ne? Every time you eat, there's a risk that you will die. Okay, hopefully the epiglottis works properly, because what would happen if the food goes in your trachea, windpipe? You could. It's what we call as asphyxiation, right? You will aspirate your food, it will go into your lungs, and if you don't remove it, you can die. But the other thing is you can get a lung infection. Food has so many bacteria, the lungs can get infected. Okay, so that is epiglottis. So many other structures are there in the brain. Okay, pituitary, hypothalamus, all these things are there. This is something you learn in anatomy. Okay, then this is something you learn in biochemistry. Okay, this is something you learn in biochemistry. This is a blood report that we do after you have a heart attack, because can you see in this small heart there is a problem here, no? There's a problem here. That is because due to a damaged blood vessel, the heart muscle has got damage there. Okay, so the heart muscle can die there. What can happen is some of the heart muscle proteins can get released into your blood. Okay, so if you take a blood and test for this, it is going to be elevated. So that is a nice indication. Okay, this person has had a heart attack. Because if you like me and you work in a medical ward on a what we call as a casualty night, that means that night all the patients coming to the hospital will come to our ward to be admitted. So many people come with saying, I have a chest pain. What are the things that can mostly in Sri Lanka? It is heart attack most likely, but it could be some other things. Could be gastritis. Could be gastritis. Okay. Could be a broken rib. Could be so many things. Okay, so this is one of the ways that we can exactly identify this person has a heart attack. But the quick thing to do, can anyone tell me what is the quickest thing to do if to identify if someone had a heart attack? Anyone with a chest pain, we do this as soon as you get there. What do we do? We do something like this. What do you call this? Okay, CPR is like given for someone who's dying, or right, who's gone into arrest. They are not breathing or heartbeat is not there. We do an ECG, so to see if the person is having the heart is producing electrical currents. Okay, so afterwards we do this when the patient is okay. We do a cardiac troponin. That is something that is a biochemical test. Okay, what else are biological biochemical test? Your liver function test. So if you have a parent or a grandparent, reports ටික අරන් බලන්න. They have what we liver function LFT කියලා එකක් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒකේ තියෙනවා sort of liver enzymes. Okay, those are all serum cholesterol levels. Yes, all those things are biochemical tests. Clear? So that's our first page of the tute. Okay. Any questions? If you send your questions, are you going to cover the syllabus before A levels? Of course. Yes. Yes. I think, okay, we'll have a discussion of my timeline. Okay. My sort of syllabus coverage timeline as we go along. Okay, we'll have to, okay, I'll give you my syllabus coverage. Echocardiogram is something different. There's a question. What is a ECG doesn't stand for echocardiogram. Okay. ECG stands for electrocardiogram. The echocardiogram is a bit more complicated test. It is done by scanning your heart. It's a scan of your heart using the ultrasound scan machine. Have you heard? Have you seen a gel gala? You can put it here and scan. If you're pregnant, I mean, we do the baby scan using the ultrasound scan. Echocardiogram is something we are scanning the heart. Electrocardiogram or ECG is you're attaching some wires and then you are taking a sort of a reading on the paper. There's a question. Down syndrome only happens due to a problem in 21st chromosome. Yes. You can write down here. This is in the syllabus. It is called as trisomy 21. That is because you have 3 chromosomes for the three sets in the 21st chromosome. Understood? Don't think about these much, but I'm just trying to introduce you what is genetics. Okay? That's the thing. In this age, you are just starting A levels. This is the time for you to not to think very much, right? Just don't overthink. But my 27 people are not thinking at all these days because they are now the next in line. The 26 people are writing the exam in another 3 weeks. Okay, so they haven't gotten into your heads that they are up next. Okay, then we'll move on to the next page. Issues pertaining to biology. We'll go through this quickly. Okay. At present, our first issue. So these are the things. Please understand, we learn biology with main one goal in mind. Anything to do with biology, it could be something, a special form of biological applications, could be medicine, could be molecular biology, could be pharmaceuticals, pharmacology, could be toxicology, could be pathology, whatever. You learn to help the human civilization to progress, to solve a problem that we face. Okay, that's why we learn a certain science. Yes, even an astrophysicist learns astrophysics to do what? To finally somehow master space travel, because we need to go into the space. Yes, because everyone in the human world, human civilization, we learn something in order to help humans. Okay, so we have to identify before we get into bio, what are the things that we should try to solve with our knowledge of biology. We are learning biology mainly. You are learning biology for what? To pass the exam. That is the top goal. But secondarily, these are the things you have to solve as a professional. If you are someone who's doing bio as your job, as your career, is something to do with biology. You are a researcher. You are a scientist. You are a consultant physician. Okay, you are doing a PhD, whatever. You are doing all this to do what? To help to solve certain problems. Okay, then at present, so the first thing that we have to apply our biological knowledge is to understand the biological diversity. Okay, there are so much different types of life on earth that they hold a lot of knowledge. That knowledge is something we can use to for our benefit. Okay, so our planet is rich in diversity. Life on earth formed around, you can write, 3.8 billion years ago. life on Earth formed 3.8 billion years ago. Okay. At first, first formed organisms are believed to be, okay, please highlight this in a nice color. They are heterotrophic anaerobic prokaryotes. Heterotrophic anaerobic prokaryotes. Okay. So this is something we need to understand. Okay. Heterotrophic anaerobic. What do you mean by those words? Heterotrophic and anaerobic. Okay. Heterotrophic means, okay, you can write down with a, you can write down here. Heterotrophic means, okay, there are two types of trophism that I will explain. Okay, two types of trophism that we can explain. Trophism means, okay, how organisms fix carbon. Okay, how organisms fix carbon. If you are able to fix inorganic carbon, what do you mean by inorganic carbon? That is the carbon dioxide mainly, right? That is carbon existing as carbon dioxide. Usually, that is called as, again, that is called as autotrophism. Autotrophism is they are able to fix inorganic carbon. Okay. If you are someone who is heterotrophic, that is the other form. If you are someone who are heterotrophic, that means you are not able to, that means you are not able to fix inorganic carbon. You need to eat, okay? You need to obtain organic carbon. That means you have to eat someone else who is able to fix carbon. Okay, වෙන කෙනෙක්ව කන්නම් වෙනවා. You have to eat someone else. So the first form organisms were not able to fix inorganic carbon. They were heterotrophic. Okay, so you can write here by putting an arrow. Okay, uses organic carbon sources. Uses organic carbon sources. Okay, uses organic carbon sources. I'm going so that I'm explaining the essential things. Okay. Yeah, don't worry about what you have missed, because from these sessions you will be able to cover everything that you have missed until now in the theory class. But do not worry. I mean, start fresh in the, because don't leave space, because you are asking. I think you are asking about leaving space in the essay writing book. Don't leave space in the essay writing book, right? You can write them later. Okay, because of course you are going to have space in the tutes, no? Because we are going to complete the tutes in these sessions. Okay, so in the tutes you leave space so that you can complete them with me in these sessions. Then when you are joining my regular theory class, just complete whatever is happening on that class in the correct page. For example, if you are joining this Thursday, we will be finishing enzymes, that is in the our second tute, sort of midway. Okay, so you can just start there, take down the notes, whatever is that's happening there, and continue. Then you can join these sessions and go from the beginning. Okay. Then the next word I want to explain is what is anaerobic. Okay, anaerobic means okay. What do you mean by anaerobic? Do not require oxygen O2 for respiration. You can draw an arrow and write, do not require oxygen for respiration. That is anaerobic. Okay. Because why in earlier, this long ago, you didn't have oxygen. You didn't have oxygen. Therefore, uh, there's no option but to do what? Some sort of a respiration that is not requiring oxygen. Okay. Clear? Then the third word that I want you to understand is prokaryotes. I think in all levels also you had this. Prokaryotes means do not have an organized nucleus. Do not have an organized nucleus. That means these are simple cells. These are simple cells. Yeah, this recording will be sent. Okay. I'm sorry. This value is 3.5. Okay. Sorry. Because this is how I studied and that's how I remember. Okay. It was edited in the new version of the resource. Yes. Okay. Correct this as 3.5. Okay. Sorry about that. This is 3.5. You have to refer the new version that says under the, I'll send the PDFs. Okay. I'll send the PDFs to the groups. Okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Yeah. 3.5. Yes. I'm doing this with my memory, so I learned it as 3.8. Okay. When I was doing A levels, I won't mention which year, but almost now I did it as soon as this syllabus was introduced. Okay. I'll say that. Okay. All right. Let's say. So, where are we? Since then, the evolutionary process resulted in extensive biodiversity which exists in the biosphere. Scientists assume, based on their studies, that there are about 10 to 100 million. Please highlight this number. Please highlight this number. Over 10 to 100 million species. Okay, in the world. There is a dynamic relationship between the living world and the inanimate world. What do you mean by inanimate world? Non-living things. All the energy, all the non-living elemental forms. Okay. There's a okay. Every organism has a specific role in the environment for the existence of a biosphere. So the all of this is like a big drama. Everyone plays a role. Someone is a fixer of carbon dioxide. Someone is able to capture the sun's energy, photosynthesize. Someone is a predator. Someone is a being. Someone is a prey. Okay. You have accidentally bought one that says 3.8. That's fine. You can correct it. Okay. You can correct the small differences. It's only small differences. Don't worry about it too much. Okay. Okay, the variety of life on Earth, the number of species of plants, animals, and microorganisms, the diversity of genes in these species, the different ecosystems on the Earth, such as deserts, rainforest, and coral reefs, are all part of a biologically diverse Earth. Yeah, to be exact, I mean, you can understand how much we don't know about the living world, even though we estimate there's about 10 to 100 million. I think we have only found out and described and catalogued only up to 2 million all species. There could be so many bacteria, so many fungal species, so many hidden small mammals. Okay, we don't know. Okay, they could contain so many hidden knowledge that we are still to find out. That's why we have to understand this massive biological diversity. Can you understand? Okay. Second one of my favorites, understanding the human body and its functions. Okay, number two. When studying biology, especially by studying histology, anatomy of the human body, one can gain a knowledge about the structure of organisms. This results in understanding and appreciation of the organization of the human body and understanding the functions of different organ systems. Yes, so there's nothing much for you to note down. Just I want you to remember what is the second issue that you want to know. Understand the human body and its functions. That you have to memorize. Okay. Third one, sustainable use and management of natural resources. Then we encounter here another definition that I want you to highlight. Okay, there's a definition here, the definition of natural resources. Natural resources are sources and material energy found naturally which are used in everyday life and for economic development. So using this definition, I'm going to explain to you what you require in your biology life, something, a skill that is very important, that is identification of what I call as keywords. Okay, identification of keywords. Keywords mean if you are missing this word in a definition, you are not going to get marks. Okay, because that word is the sort of a the essence of the definition. So you have to say, particularly in this definition, can you identify any keyword? You have to say a natural resource is found naturally. No? You have to say definitely whenever you are writing this definition, you have to say it's found naturally. And resources are not just material, not just stuff. It could be energy. So these are some keywords. Okay, the keyword that is going to be essential whenever you are writing this definition. Okay, keywords. We'll go through some in a essay marking scheme. Then we can together we can identify what are the important keywords. These natural resources are limited, therefore due to the increase in growth rate. So what can you understand here? Increase in the growth rate. Okay, so if I just said the growth, I mean the human population is increasing, if I said it is going to be a graph like this. So if this is time and the human population number on this y-axis now, if I said the human population is increasing, it is going to be a graph like this. But what they say is the rate of growth is increasing. That means, please understand, this is a curve like this. The increment is increasing. You are increasing in an increasing way. The rate of increment is increasing. Understood? It causes the threat of depletion of natural resources. Due to overexploitation, various environmental problems can arise. These are questioned in the structured essay paper. So, what are the three problems that can arise due to the depletion or overexploitation? Due to overexploitation. The first thing is, if you are overusing any resource, there's going to be so many waste products. The first problem is environmental pollution. Complete. Okay. First problem is environmental pollution. Second one is loss of biodiversity. Loss of biodiversity. Third one, that is because why? Because you are polluting the environment. The organisms don't have a place to live. Yes, their habitats are destroyed. Therefore, you lose the biodiversity. Finally, whenever you lose biodiversity, it is going to be a empty land, barren land, infertile. So that process is called desertification. Desertification. Okay. Hence, to overcome the above problems, management of natural resource and the environment should be practiced. Knowledge of biology is useful. Yes, that's what I told you. Biology, you should always think about how I can use this knowledge for the benefit of the human population. So whenever you are, if you are learning some science, whether it's medicine, whether it's some sort of any science field, right? It's the application that matters. What are you going to do with this knowledge? Okay. All right. So three problems done, three issues done. Okay. Next one. 4. Sustainable food production. Because earlier we said the human population is increasing in an alarming manner. Okay. So we have to feed this population. So what do you have to do? You have to increase the food production because everywhere there's people everywhere. You don't have farming space. Okay. You have to feed increasing population with less space. That's why we have to go to Mars. Okay, maybe Eden. Okay, sustainable food production. Okay, please highlight. This is another definition. Is the production of sufficient amounts of food for the human population using environmentally safe methods. Can anyone tell me what are the keywords in this definition? These are skills. Either there are skills in biology. Are there physics වලට කියලා දුන්නාද basic maths for physics කියලා? Basic trigonometry, logarithms. Were you taught this? Why is it erased? Okay. Were you taught basic skills for physics? ඒ වගේ. There are some basic skills for bio. That's what I'm teaching you this. Because in the end, what is going to be important is how you go and write the exam. What are the keywords? Yes, quickly tell me. Yes, Metin, sufficient, very good. You have to produce food adequately. It's not very effective, right? Using, it has to be environmentally safe. Otherwise, it is not sustainable. What do you mean by sustainable? You have to be able to do it for a long time. Sustainable. Okay, you have to be able to continue doing it for a long time. Yes, very good. That skill or okay, skills you have to develop, because if you go to the exam and you miss these keywords, you will come home and say after the exam, okay, I wrote a very long essay, I wrote 4 long essays, marks are sure, but you have missed all the keywords. Okay, then no one can give you marks. Okay, just because your essay is long, that's not going to be enough. Current human population is about 7 billion. I think this is inaccurate, but what to do? We have to study that. Okay. I think we exceeded the 8 billion mark, I think last year. Okay. So highlight this. If they ask you, this is what you have to write. It is expected to double in less than 40 years. Okay. So 14 billion in less than 40 years. Okay. So these things will be questioned. Okay. Therefore, for the survival, sustainable food production is necessary. To maintain sustainable food production, following methods can be applied, which are based on the knowledge of biology. Yes, so this is the application. This is why you learn these things. Okay, when we are doing this lesson genetics, you will understand how we have modified all our crops, most of our crops, the rice we eat, the fruits we eat, the vegetables we eat. Everything has been upgraded so that they are more efficient. Got it? This lesson is the introduction to biology, like it is the introduction to your syllabus also. Everything you will learn in our upcoming lessons, you get a taste of them here. Okay. What are things you can do? Yeah. What are things you can do to increase? To perform. For sustainable food production, high yielding. Okay, production of high yielding. You can have cows producing more milk. High yielding animals and okay. So keep in mind these sessions are designed to go bit fast. Okay, because I have to teach you. We went a bit slow. No? What happened over 3 months in these sessions? Okay. Production of disease resistant, second one. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you have a cow that is producing a lot of milk, if it's going to be easily killed by a small bacterial infection. Okay, so you have to have disease resistant. Production of disease resistant varieties. Okay, high yielding varieties. Okay, high yielding varieties of animals and plants. Disease resistant varieties of animals and plants. Okay, finally, so you have a cow that is producing a lot of milk, and that cow is very strong. not able to be, can withstand some infections, diseases. But so you take milk from the cow, and when you are transporting that milk, because you are not following the correct techniques, the milk is going to be spoiled. That means we have to improve something we call as improve post harvest technological improve post harvest technological methods. You have to protect what you obtained until it goes into your mouth. Post harvest means since you took from your the field or the animal until you eat it, it is post harvest. Okay, so it includes storage, transport, food preparation, food storage in your home, how your mother cooks it, and how your mother keeps it until you eat it. Everything is included in post harvest. Okay, so you have to have good storage methods, good food preservation methods. All those things are important. May okkoma we'll learn, right? All these post harvest methods. There's a lesson in the 10th lesson is called applied biology. We'll talk about food preservation. Ilangata in microbiology, we'll learn about how to preserve food and how to remove bacteria, microorganisms from food. Okay, bio syllabus is very, let's say, it spreads to a lot of areas. Okay, Hari. Next issue is it 5? Yeah, 5. Kati not sleeping, neither. Yes, it's only 7:30, 7:20. Yeah. Okay, understanding plant life. So botany, bit boring personally, but some people, I mean, some students really like it botany, so they better go into certain. I mean, to be honest, botany is actually one of the most important fields. Okay, because our food production mainly relies on plants. Yes, you can highlight this as a fact, right? Don't use the green, whatever your definition color. Plants are the primary producers. That means they produce most of our food. All animals depend directly or indirectly on plants. As the human population is increasing, we need to increase productivity. Understanding plant function and biology is important to produce high yielding plants, disease resistant plants. Okay, so the most of the plants and the crops that we have right now have been modified genetically so that they are able to produce a higher yield as well as resistant to diseases. Okay, nothing much to understand here, so I'll go through them. Next issue, understanding diseases and causes. Okay, is it 6? Yes. To maintain a healthy human body, one should have the knowledge of the causes of diseases and their effects. Some dangerous diseases which exist in the current world are, okay, so roughly, very crudely, this is not very accurate, but you can categorize diseases as communicable and non-communicable. Okay, based on the fact that if someone can get it from another diseased person directly, it could be direct spread. What do you mean by direct spread? By it could be the pathogen or whatever disease causing organism could be in their skin, could be in their respiratory droplets, could be in their sneeze, could be in their blood, could be in their sperm or semen, in their urine, wherever. If you come into some sort of contact, that is called direct spread. Can anyone tell me another method where communicable diseases can spread directly? Can anyone tell me another method how they can spread a communicable disease? Through? Huh? මෙයා ගැන හිතන්න. Think about this disease. Yes. Okay. We call them vectors. Vectors. A vector is the middleman. A vector is a middleman who acts as a sort of a it's it, they do the transfer, right? For example, due to if you are a nurse or a doctor, you took some blood for some testing from a patient you didn't know was having HIV, and then accidentally you were not wearing gloves. So when you were trying to put the blood into a bottle, you pricked your finger. There is a direct spread. Okay, from the patient's blood, you directly contacted your blood. But what about there's a mosquito who is going to bite a person with dengue, then he is going to come and bite you. That is what we call as a vector. Vector-borne diseases, there are dengue, so many flies. Flies carry a lot of diseases. Rats, right? Then mammals carry your uh, rabies. So many diseases are vector-borne. Okay, so these are communicable diseases. These will all you will learn. Okay, don't think about them as much. Then non-communicable diseases, they can't spread from one person to the other. You get them because of, could be your lifestyle, could be your genetics, right? Whatever, you get this, and you can't. These diseases won't spread. Please highlight this list. Right? Non-communicable diseases are cancers, heart diseases, diabetes, kidney diseases. Then you have communicable diseases such as dengue, AIDS. Does anybody know the long name of AIDS? Please. What do you mean by AIDS? Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Write down here. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Who is the one who is causing this AIDS? You can also add to this, caused by human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. This is the disease. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome is the disease. Who is the causative virus? Human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. Actually, AIDS is a much more advanced level, right? It takes several years for you to get AIDS. First, you are infected with HIV. මුලින්ම HIV virus එක ඇඟට එනවා. It takes several years for you to get AIDS. AIDS is a very dangerous level of HIV infection. Syndrome, very good question. What do you mean by a syndrome? Right, you had Down syndrome also. A syndrome is a collection of features. Okay, a syndrome is a collection of features, not just one feature. For example, if you're having a Down syndrome, that means you have a set of features. Your IQ is low, you can't speak properly, right? They're usually short. Downs people, they are short. Short. They have straight hair. Several problems. If you have HIV, you are going to have, if you have AIDS, you are going to have a lot of problems as well. You have a reduced immunity. Therefore, you can get lung infections. You are more susceptible to certain cancers. You can get what? Heart disorders. What else can you get? You can get so many, any other infection. They can develop into a severe infection and they can die. That is the problem. So they are having a collection of features. Therefore, it is called as a syndrome. Okay. Anyone having connection issues? I see people coming and going. Anyone having connection issues? No, right? Okay. Don't worry. Recording will be provided. Okay. All right. Okay. I think I have given yes. So here I have given the origin of a cancer. I have in my, if you go to my YouTube channel, I explain this a little bit as well in my shorts. So a cancer originates with just one abnormal cell that is going to divide until you have a collection of abnormal cells that we call as a tumor. Okay. You can write progression of cancer. You can label this diagram as progression of cancer. This diagram shows how cancer is originated and also how it progresses. Okay. Okay, cancers. Causes for these are not fully understood yet. Cancers are one of the leading causes. We actually know what are the main causes for cancers. Okay, right? Cancers are mainly caused due to environmental factors. It could be anything that is going to cause a cell to become abnormal. What are the things? It could be your diet. It could be alcohol. It could be smoking. It could be beetle chewing. Right? So many things in the environment can be the trigger for a cancer. Some people have genetics, right? For example, breast cancer, those can have, it can come from the family. Okay. So, but mostly it is due to things under our control. Okay. AIDS. Uh, can you highlight? AIDS is a viral disease. So you can write here caused by human immunodeficiency virus. Heart diseases. We'll talk about heart disease in detail when we are doing the cardiovascular system. Okay, I'm doing this for my 27 people these days. We had a big discussion about heart attacks, myocardial infarction. Okay, this one I want to explain a bit. Chronic renal diseases, very relevant to Sri Lanka. Can you write down what do you mean by CKDU? Okay, this is in your syllabus, so I'm not going to go out of syllabus. I keep saying this because I know you have been comparing. Because if teaching things outside the syllabus can be attractive but pointless. Okay, you have to understand that. Either CKDU stands for chronic kidney disease. Okay, that you know. No? What does the U stand for? What the U කියලා කියන්නේ? Unknown etiology. Etiology means the cause is unknown. You don't know how it happens. Unknown etiology. Okay, let's continue. CKDU has become a serious health problem. Currently, scientists are working on prevention, remedial measures, and cures. Okay, this diagram, is it blurry in your PDFs as well? Is it blurry? Mm, I think it's a problem with my PDF. Okay. This is a process that we call as, this is in your syllabus, okay? This is called as dialysis. Dialysis. If you have you had any family member have you undergoing dialysis? Can you hands up? Anyone who had a family member undergoing dialysis? Okay. That's something you don't have to experience because why? If your kidneys, which are located somewhere here, if they fail completely or they are working at a very low level, what there's no other option but to do with a machine what is done by the kidneys. This machine, this entire machine is the hemodialysis machine. That means you clean or filter your blood using a machine. This process is depending on the person's kidney damage level, it could be very expensive. Some people have to undergo dialysis more than sometimes 3 times per week. Some people can survive on maybe two dialysis per week. Right? They can have a normal life. They can go to work. They can enjoy. But okay, but some people sometimes every 2 days they have to undergo dialysis. Okay, so what happens in dialysis is you take out blood probably from your arm. It can happen from your neck as well. You are connected to the machine for maybe the average dialysis duration is around 4 hours. Okay, it could be up to 6 hours. So your blood is going to go through this machine where the blood is going to be cleaned, all the waste material is removed, and it's put back in your body. You are basically filtering your blood. Understood? That is dialysis. Can you label this diagram as dialysis done for end stage renal disease? Okay, මට වඩා space එක manage කරගන්න. Okay, dialysis done for end stage renal disease. That is what we call as the CKD level where we have to do dialysis. Can anyone tell me what is the other option? If you, we do dialysis. If we can't do something else, can we? What do you think that is? We are doing dialysis if we can't do something else. Yeah, yeah. I got one answer. Yeah, kidney transplant. What is the problem with kidney transplant? So many problems. So many problems. One thing, you need a donor, someone to donate. Either you can buy with your money a kidney from a person who's willing to sell. I think yes. Yeah. Because imagine you found a kidney and you have to do something called, you have to match the kidney to the person. Okay, the blood groups and so many other, there are markers, kidney markers, we say they have to match up. Otherwise, the kidney, you can't even think of transplanting. Then everything went or happens okay, but what's the other thing that's the problem? Your body is designed to repel and reject anything that is not yours. It could be a virus, it could be a bacteria, or it could be a kidney that you got for your kidney disease. Your immune system will fight and reject this. Many kidney patients have, they undergo organ transplant rejection. Okay, so in order to keep that kidney in their body, what do we have to do? We have to weaken their immune system. Immunity, you have to immune. Yes, very good. I think words. You have to weaken their immune system. What is that going to cause? They are easily susceptible to diseases. Right? Everything. When you try to fix something, something else goes wrong. Right? If you ever become a general physician, a consultant physician, you are spending your life solving one problem one after the other. You solve one problem, that is going to cause another problem. You solve that one, there's going to be another one. Okay. Right? For example, a patient comes with low blood pressure, then you find out it's because of a severe bacterial infection. Then you treat that severe bacterial infection, the person gets a severe allergy. So when you treat that severe allergy, the bacterial infection gets worse. Okay? One problem, the solution to one problem causes another problem. Everything is like that. You have to keep that in mind. That's enough. Yeah, I forgot about this page. Okay, right? I have given here some of the causes for certain cancers. Okay, Oral carcinoma. Can you see here? There's abnormal growth. What are the causes? Beetle. Beetle means what? All these are components of a මොකක්ද මේක කියන්නේ බුලත් විට කියලා කියන්නේ. I don't know what's in Tamil. What do you call beetle? That chewing the full mix in Tamil. Anyone? The one with the areca nut, the lime, and the tobacco leaf, and the vettala. Okay, whatever. When you chew that, because of all the chemicals there, abnormal cells are affected, and you can have a growth like this. Then also smoking. Smoking, I can talk about the things caused by smoking for a day. Okay, so many chemicals are there that are cancer causing. Alcohol, of course, all the different components, particularly different types of alcohol. With, I mean, you can have arak, you can have whiskey, you can have different strengths. All those are going to have a cancer causing effect. Then viruses, you can write down with a pencil Joliet again. HPV is human papilloma. Now, maybe you don't need to write down. Okay, you can draw an arrow here. Sorry. Maybe human papilloma virus. HPV is human papilloma virus. Okay. Human papilloma virus is a main cause for Gabgilla pilica, cancer in the cervix. I hope everyone in this, 28 people, all the girls, you have got HPV vaccine. The HPV vaccine gattad? Have you all gotten the HPV vaccine? Don't put your hands up. Gattanan good. Okay. HPV vaccine is the best way to prevent cervical carcinoma. Because of a virus, you can get cancer. Understood? Viruses can cause cancer. Then colorectal carcinoma. Where do you have the colon and the rectum? Where do you have the colon and the rectum? Where do you have the colon and the rectum? This is the anus. And you have where your all the feces, all your undigested things are stored. Then you have your large intestine. Colon is the final part of your large intestine. Then you have your small intestine like this. Then you have your stomach here. Okay, stomach is here, and then you have esophagus right there. Very common site for cancers is this area, colorectal. Can you see methane? Red meat, smoking, alcohol. Not very common in Sri Lanka because we don't eat much red meat. Apikane chicken and stuff. Esophageal carcinoma, again cigarette smoke, areca nut. Breast carcinoma, the leading cancer in Sri Lanka. Being a woman is the main cause. Okay. So can't men get breast cancer? What do you think? Pirimiyat had the breast cancer. Can't men get breast cancer? They can. I think about 2% of breast cancers are in men. 2%. Okay. But that is also due to increased estrogen levels in them. People who drink alcohol. Have you seen people who drink alcohol? They're usually having a big gut, badalokui, and they can have sort of in their chest, they have some sort of breast vage structures. That is because their testosterone has been suppressed because of the alcohol, and they have more estrogen. They actually have real breasts. Okay? That's why they get breast cancer. Okay, so I think that's a good motivation to stop alcohol. You're going to have breast cancer as a man. Okay. Then thyroid carcinoma, very common due to radiation. Okay, you must have heard in Hiroshima after the atomic bomb, one of the commonest cancers in all the upcoming generations was thyroid cancers, and also in Chernobyl. Have you heard what happened in Chernobyl? Yes, in Soviet Russia. The Mekale, when you are free these days, right? Other than watching YouTube shorts and TikToks and ruining your attention span, right? Watch some good TV shows, right? This is the time to watch because in another year's time you won't have time. Watch some high-rated TV shows. I'm not going to say මොනවද බලන්න එපා කියලා. But watch some high rated. One of the things you can watch is what happened in Chernobyl. There's a very short mini series. Watch that. Some these high rated things. Okay. Then there's another show. I think most of you must have watched it. Have you heard Sherlock? Sherlock. It's going to improve your attention, paying attention skills. That is going to improve your in class performance as well. Class එකේ අහන් ඉන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. You can pay attention because these are sort of you have to use your brain a little bit, not just watching. Okay. Okay. So invest your time if you looking for investment. When will be the interval? Okay, very okay. Right. I think this is an online class. No, do we need an interval? Okay, I'll give some 5 minutes. Okay. Later. Okay, we'll finish these issues. We are still in these issues, no? Okay. Solving some legal and ethical issues. Knowledge and application of biological concepts is important in solving some legal issues. Please highlight what are the legal issues. You can be asked to list down these things. There are 3 things that is given here. Please highlight. Parentage testing to check who is the father. Criminal investigation if there is a rape case to see who's the rapist. And solve immigration. That means to see if this person is really a citizen of a certain country. Okay. So this is an example of what would happen in a rape situation. In the female's body, if you find some sperm, you can do some DNA analysis, then you can process it, then you can compare what we call as you can label this diagram DNA fingerprinting. DNA fingerprinting also you have in your syllabus. So, okay, as I keep saying, your syllabus is a vast, it's widespread. Okay, so DNA fingerprinting is a technique that we use using, that we can do using some parts of DNA that you can compare. Okay, can anyone tell me in this situation? This is what can anyone tell me? DNA fingerprinting for, sorry, you can add for paternity testing. You can label this diagram DNA fingerprinting for paternity testing. This is what we do here. Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds. Can anyone tell me who is the father? There's a mother and there's a baby. We don't know if it's the male 1 or male 2. Could be a divorce situation, could be a rape situation. We don't know. But why aren't we testing for the mother? Because the mother, the child was born to the mother, ne? Okay. Right. So who is the father? You are not the father. Yes. Who is the father? How do you say? Now, can anyone tell me? So you including every baby is a product of 2 people. No? 2 people got involved to make a baby. Therefore, the baby is like a hybrid of the father and the mother. So you can see in their DNA fingerprint, he is going to have some things that are common with the mother, of course. Yes, some things that are common with the mother. Okay. What we have to check is in the child's father, you are going to have between the child and the father, yes, some corresponding things. Okay, those are so legally. I think you have to have matching. I think 20 or something DNA markers. If you have matching, that means you can legally. It is acceptable in court. Usaviye, you can use it as evidence, valid evidence if more than 20 sort of, I think, right, parallel, matching DNA segments are there. Yes, it's male 1. Okay. Can you see? Compared to male 2, the child has a lot more matching areas with the male 1. Yes, the child and the man compare. Okay, compared to male 2, the child has a lot of matching things with male 1. So, male 1 is likely to be the father. Okay, Hari? Okay. So that's it. So final issue that we talked about is solving some legal and ethical issues. Okay, I want you to remember these three. May these three very important. Okay, parentage testing, criminal investigation, solve immigration. So after today, I'm going to send you to do as homework our first small revision paper that is called cool down 1. Okay, so that paper I'll be sending again so that you can do it. Okay, then we'll move on to this small topic. Okay, there's nothing much here. Okay, organisms are diverse based on size, shape, form, and habitats. So okay, please remember some of these values, right? The bacterial size can range from 0.25 micrometers to 2 micrometers. And giant sequoia or the redwood tree can reach up to 100 meters. Can you imagine the size of this? In California, there's a redwood forest, America. Okay, it is full of these giant sequoia trees. Okay, then shape. These are basic things. You can have cylindrical people, streamlined things. Because why? Birds and fish should be able to. You have to be able to fly or swim through air. Okay, they should be very aerodynamic. Unicellular amoeba. You know amoeba? No? Can anyone tell me what is an amoeba? Amoeba is what we call as a protozoa of kingdom Protista. Okay, it's a protozoa. Any other protozoa that you know? Euglena paramecium. Have you heard of this? Yeah, yeah. Those are all. What about the shape of a whale? The whale is also streamlined, no? Somewhat. Whale is not streamlined. Is he like a box? No, right? Maybe. Habitat, terrestrial, living on land, rat, very good example. Aquatic fish, very good. Arboreal, loris, aerial birds. I don't know how they find these examples, but they are very interesting. Who is loris? Can anyone tell me? Is it a person who's living on? Okay, first tell me what is arboreal? Living on trees. Yes, living on trees. Can anyone tell me who is loris? Is he a person living on a tree? Tarzan or no? Yes. Living on trees, nang, it's arboreal. You can write if you want. There's a person, not a person in Sri Lanka that is endemic. No, I think that is endemic to Sri Lanka. That is called Sri Lankan slender loris. That is our own Unahapulu. I couldn't put a photo of him in the tube. Have you seen with the big guys? Okay, Unahapulua. Go and search in Google loris. Okay, they could have said some monkeys or chimpanzees, but they chose to go with loris. Okay, they keeps things interesting, I guess. Okay, finally we move on to characteristics of organisms. Then we can finish. Okay, we'll finish introduction to biology, and I'll give you a break. Break we have to finish this. Okay, characteristics of organisms. That's what we are going to discuss. Okay, the first character. Okay, so now please understand, this is a very important section in this lesson. Okay, we are going to see what are the things that you can see in living organisms. If I give you some object, if I give you a certain object, you should be able to, as a person who is studying biology, You should be able to look at it and scientifically prove to me this is something I can define as living. Therefore, it comes under biology. So, if you are studying biology, what is your scope of studying? What are the things you are going to learn about? Living things. So, your basic skill, first of all, should be what are the things that I need to study? You need to study only living things. So, what are living things? Okay, it should breathe, it should move. There's a list of characters. Okay, if the whatever the object I give to you, is it ticking all these boxes of characteristic organism, then you can say scientifically, okay, this is a living organism. Clear now? That's what we are going to learn now. It's all very scientific. Okay, that is why we have to keep this always in a logical way. Okay, at the end, what you're going to retain is what you understood. Got it? First one, order and organization. Please, the first point you need to remember, there's an order and organization of how organisms are arranged. Okay, from lower level components are arranged in a methodical pattern in the upper level to make it most efficient. Okay, plant, leaf, and humanized. So I have given here, not here, the order of things. Okay, hierarchy. Okay, so can you jump to this page? Under order and organization, we have to talk about the hierarchical levels. What do you mean by hierarchy? Can anyone tell me what do you mean by a hierarchy? It's an order of things. That means one after the other, you can say, okay, this comes below this comes above this. Even to a country, there's a hierarchy. The president is at the top, then there's a prime minister, and then there's a speaker of parliament, then there's ministers, or there's a hierarchy of power. Here, it's a hierarchy of organization, how organisms are composed of. Okay, so we are jumping to here, page number 7 in it. Okay, please highlight, this is a very important statement. This is the basic biological law. The cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Keywords are structural and functional, and also basic. Okay, I will explain what we mean about this. If you take an organism, if I take you, and if I break you down into pieces and smaller fragments until I get one of your single cells, it could be a brain neuron, it could be a liver cell, it could be a muscle cell, whatever, that is the smallest thing in your body that you can call as living. Everything below that is not living. Okay, then it is just going to be some molecules. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to know. It is structural. That means what? All other multicellular organisms are composed of the single building unit that we call as cell. Okay, and functional means it is able to perform all the things that you see in a living organism. So keep this highlighted. This is very important. Some organisms are unicellular, some organisms are multicellular. Okay, cell is composed of several organelles which are formed by different organic molecules. Okay, right. Can you come here? So we are going to go in the backwards direction. The diagram I have given you is from top to bottom. We are going to go from bottom to top. We are going to start with number 10, molecules. Okay, we are going to start with number 10, that is molecules. What do you mean by molecules? Those are your organic molecules, right? You can see here a chlorophyll molecule I have given in the tube, right? So chlorophyll molecule is mainly involved in photosynthesis. It is involved in photosynthesis. Molecules get together to form organelles. So we are going to follow a leaf, I think, yes, a plant. Yes. Diagram, we are going to follow a plant. So we start with the plant molecule, that is chlorophyll. You know chlorophyll, that is like our main photosynthetic molecule. Okay. So then from several molecules get together to form organelles. So this is a chloroplast. Can you highlight this? This is a chloroplast. Okay, can you see how small it is? It's a 1 micrometer small. Then several organelles, such as your nucleus, mitochondria, Golgi, endoplasmic reticulum, you know these things, they get together to form cells. That is the next level, that is cells. So you have a plant cell here. Can you see? This is a plant cell. Plant cells, several plant cells get together, several hundreds and thousands get together to form a tissue. Okay, tissue is a group of cells of common origin performing a particular function. Okay, tissues form an organ. Tissues form an organ. That organ in a plant could be a leaf. A leaf is an organ. Okay, organ systems in plants, you have your vascular system such as your xylem and phloem. Okay, those kind of things are just examples. Several organ systems get together to form the organism. Okay, so until that, I want you to understand. Okay, so I want you to understand until that level. Okay, so here, can you write down in this space? In this space, you have some space. Yes, here you have some space. We'll start from this point here, because you can, I know you can break down molecules into atoms, into subatomic particles. We don't know need that in biology. Okay, so we are just going to follow an experiment, sort of a, we are going to start from molecules. Okay, we are going to start from molecules. Okay, molecule. So we'll use an example as a muscle protein. I'll take an example of a muscle protein as myosin. Right, myosin is a muscle protein. Okay, molecule, muscle protein. Then they get together to form what? Organelles. Organelle. So you can say organelles. Inside your muscles, you have something called sarcomere. Sarcomere are the things that are the motor units in your muscles. They produce the force. For example, if I tell you to lift a certain weight, the muscle that contracts is due to this motor units, or the force generating units called sarcomeres. These are all in your syllabus. Okay, organelles are there. Organelles from cells. Can you give me a cell? It's a muscle cell. Yes, organelles get together form. These are examples. Okay. Then what is the next level? Cells get together to form a tissue. Let's take an example of a tissue as cardiac muscle tissue. Heart muscle. Huh? Cardiac muscle is heart muscle. These are, this is, I mean, just giving you some examples. Okay. Tissue. Tissues form what? An organ. What is the organ that is formed by cardiac muscles? Yes, what is the organ that is formed by cardiac muscles? Quickly tell me. What is the organ that is formed by cardiac muscle? Heart muscles from what? Heart. Organs get together to form an organ system. So, what is the heart connected to? You can say circulatory system. Yeah, heart is connected to circulatory system. Finally, you have organism. Okay. Can you take down this example hierarchy? This is just a sample hierarchy. This is a sample hierarchy. But you have to remember, from molecules to organism, this order of organization you have to remember. Okay. So say with me, Mathekyan, molecules form organelles, organelles from क्या ना organelles from cells, cells from tissues, tissues from organs, organs from organ systems. Organisms, organ systems get together to form a organism. Yes. If you send messages to the main chat, it is much easier. Otherwise, there's a question. Yes, the chlorophyll is much bigger than a single. Sorry, the chloroplast is bigger than a typical bacteria. Yes, because it is inside a plant cell. Plant cells are much bigger than bacteria. Quickly take this down. Okay, still writing. Can you see? I always try to bring it back to animals because it's a. So this example is good. The example I have given in your tute. This is about a plant organizational levels, but you can relate it to animals in this sort of example. Okay. Okay. Done. Okay, then I want you to write down a small point here under tissues. I want you to write down a small definition of tissues. Okay, a tissue is a group of one or more, a group of one or more cell types which carry out specialized function or functions. Okay, a tissue is a group of one or more cell types which carry out specialized function or functions. That is a definition of tissues that you will find out later in syllabus, but them පාඩම් කරගන්නවා ටික, right? Okay, study this. Okay. So write it. Okay. All right. Then, so we have arrived at an organism. Ne? We have arrived at, so in this example, it's a tree. Yes, it's a tree. Then we move on to some things we call as ecological hierarchies. Things that are found, I mean, levels that are found in the environment. These are what we call as ecological hierarchies. Okay, so you can see from organism to population, there's community and there's an ecosystem and a biosphere. Okay, so I want you to write down the definitions of these. Okay, so a population, it is given here, right? In this description, it is given all the individuals of a species living within the bounds of a specified area. Okay, but I want you to write down the one in your syllabus, proper one. So can we write some definitions here? A population, okay, you can say, do I need to write down? If I read, can you write down? Okay, I'll write down the key points. Okay, a population, write down a group of individuals of the same species living in the same area okay, living in the same area. Then there's a very important part we have to add here. What is a population? A group of individuals of the same species living in the same area producing fertile offspring, producing fertile offspring through interbreeding. This is the proper definition of a population. It's a group of individuals of the same species living in the same area, producing fertile offspring through interbreeding. Quickly write down. So, can you give me an example of a human population? Maybe a village, a group of people in the village. It's a population, they live in the same area. What is the most important thing? They have to be able to mate with each other, reproduce with each other, and the organ or the young children they have should be fertile. Fertile means what? They are able to have their own children. Why? Otherwise, the population will not continue. No? So, a population is considered as I mean, a group of organisms is only considered as a population if they can produce a next generation that is fertile. Can you understand? Their next generation should be able to produce another generation. Otherwise, it's not a population. Okay. Next. So that's the definition of a population. Then what's the definition of a, I want you to write down, what's the definition of a community? So what do you mean by community? Can you see here? Array of organisms. Can you see trees, animals, mushrooms, microorganisms? Can you see? It's like a bacteria. Everyone is included in this community. What is the definition of a community? Okay, let's write down. A collection of populations. In the end, I'm automatically in the board. A collection, I write everything in the board. A collection of populations. A collection of populations of different species. A collection of populations of different species living in the same area in the same area interacting with each other. Interacting with each other. So, in order to make a community, you need several populations. So, it could be here, it could be a population of deer, it could be a population of certain trees, it could be population of birds, right? It could be even humans, right? Humans with elephants, right? It's a population, it's a different population living together, communities, right? Humans and monkeys. We have a monkey problem now. Humans and elephants. We are living in the same community whether they like or not. Okay, living in the same area, interacting with each other. Humans kill elephants, elephants kill humans, monkeys steal human food, humans shoot the monkeys. So, okay, common, right? That's a community. Next definition is ecosystem. Ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem. Write down collection of communities. Collection of communities as well as abiotic factors, with which they interact. With which they interact. What do you mean by abiotic factors? The sunlight, the soil, the water, the air, everything is abiotic. Okay, right. Finally, that's an ecosystem. Because if you want to build up an ecosystem, you are going to require all the other energy, all the other material that you need to keep all the organisms living. Finally, we come to the very big picture, or the hierarchy that is including everything, biosphere. What do you mean by the biosphere? Write down the definition. Entire portion of earth inhabited by life. It's the entire portion of earth inhabited by life. If there is life on earth on a certain place, it is part of the biosphere. Chutikali in grade 6 geography or something, have you heard? You have learned, eh? Yes. So that is our summary of hierarchies. Okay. Any questions? So we talked about from the bottom organelle level up to the biosphere level how organisms are arranged. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, hurry, let's continue. So we only finished one of the characteristics of organism, that is order and organization. Okay, so we'll come to the remaining characters. Okay, then we'll take a break. Okay, we'll take a break at the ending time. Okay, right. No, no, I'll give you a small one. What do you think? You want to break right now and continue? Can. No need. Okay. Okay. Take need. Take until 8:30, but please be here. Please be here at 8:30. Right? Because uh, I have to. I mean, it's better for both of us, both the parties, if we finish this early. Okay. Come back at 8:30. Taggalen. Come back at 8:30. Okay. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, we'll finish intro to biology quickly. I mean, then we can move on to the second lesson. Is it going too fast? Yeah. After all, this is a rapid up cover up session. Okay. Okay, people, shall we start? Okay. All right. Then we'll come to the second characteristic of organisms that you need to know. There is metabolism. Okay. Metabolism. Please highlight the definition. What do you mean by metabolism? Highlight the definition. This is a very important definition. The definition of metabolism. The sum of all chemical activities taking place in an organism is its metabolism. Okay. Methana, there is an alternative definition. Both are valid. Okay. Better one is this. Okay. Better one is this. Sum of, okay, මෙතන ලියා ගන්න, sum of all biochemical reactions. It's biochemical reactions of living being is known as metabolism. Okay. The sum of all biochemical reactions of living being, that is the best definition for metabolism. Okay. So the word is sum. What do you mean by sum? It's the total, no? All right. So under the umbrella term metabolism, you can say, you can include all the reactions happening in your body right now, happening in any living cell, in any living organism. All the reactions come under that. Okay. So there are two types of metabolic reactions. Okay, we'll write down the definitions. Catabolic reactions. Catabolic is like khadana, you are breaking down. Right? Khadana, you are breaking. Okay, is the breaking down of complex molecules into simple molecules by releasing free energy. Write down. It's the breaking down of complex molecules to simple molecules. Write in words, okay? Complex molecules to simple molecules by releasing free energy. By releasing free energy. Can you understand this? When you break something that is composed of chemical bonds into something much more simple, into its building blocks, that process is going to release energy. Okay. So you can say within brackets, you can write within brackets. It is called an exergonic reaction. Exergonic reaction. Exergonic means energy exit, energy going out. Okay. Catabolic reactions always release energy. Okay. Exergonic reaction. Breaking down of complex molecules into simple molecules. Then anabolic reactions is the opposite of this. Anabolic reactions is the opposite of this. Anabolic reactions mean you are like, in single we say anala hadanawa, right? You are mixing, you are using simple molecules as building blocks and you are making complex molecules. Okay, so you can say, okay, you can say making complex molecules from simple molecules by absorbing free energy. You are, this is breaking, this is making complex molecules from simple molecules by absorbing free energy. So this process, because you need to apply energy in order to build these new bonds to make complex things from simple things. This is going to absorb energy. Okay, it is. You can write down here. It is an endergonic. I don't have enough space, so you can write down properly. Either endergonic reaction. Endergonic means energy end, right? Endergonic reaction. Understood? Endergonic reaction. Anabolism is an endergonic reaction. Okay, this is metabolism. All you need to know about metabolism at this point is this. When we are talking about enzymes, photosynthesis, cellular respiration, anaerobic respiration, we'll go into metabolism in a lot more detail. Okay. Alright. So if you are a living organism, you should be able to show metabolism. Can you understand? What are we talking about right now? Then break we are talking about what are the things shown by organisms. If you want to say someone is a living organism, these are the things, characteristics of organisms. Okay, right. Next, growth and development. Right, these are just some two definitions that I want you to know. Okay, growth is a irreversible increase in dryness. Irreversible increase in dryness. If someone is undergoing a growth, it should be irreversible. So that means if you have a lot of water, that means your mass increases, but is it dry mass? No. So it doesn't come under growth. Then, for example, a woman who is pregnant with from the first month to until the 9 months, her mass increases, but is it irreversible? Forever, bye bye. Okay, so a pregnant situation is not also a growth for the mother. Okay, so the baby is growing, but for the mother's mass increases, is it growth? No. Second definition, irreversible changes that occur during the lifespan of an organism is development. Irreversible changes that occur during the lifespan of an organism is development. Very important. Okay, these definitions. Then you need to know they are consequent processes. Okay, one happens after the other. An organism grows and then develops, grows and develops. Okay, that's what happens. For example, you increase in your dry mass, then that dry mass differentiates. So when you were a child, as you were growing taller, your body mass increases. Also, your bones develop, your muscles develop, your brain develops, hopefully. Okay, everything develops together with growth. That's why we say it's consequent. Okay, I'm just going to go through this a bit fast. Okay, it's a set of definitions that you need to know. Okay, irritability and coordination. Okay, I think you know these things, eh? Characteristics of organisms. Oh, you had 4 levels. I didn't even do this section in my O-level seminar because it's a AC part, ne? Characteristic of organism. Okay. Irritability is the ability to respond to stimuli from both internal and external environment. Yes, you are able to detect signals from internal and external environment. Yes. Can anyone tell me some external stimuli? Touch, temperature, vision, sounds, taste. All those are external stimuli. But any internal stimuli? Can anyone tell me some internal stimuli? What are internal stimuli? Yeah, what are internal stimuli? What are internal stimuli? Some examples of internal signals that you have in your body. internal signals that you have in your body? Yeah, no idea. Your blood glucose level? Your blood glucose level is an internal signal. Yes. What else? Your inner body temperature? Yes. Ah, yeah, that's a good one. You can say our blood osmolarity. Osmolarity means how much water and ions, sodium, potassium, those kind of things are there. Blood osmolarity. Then blood pH. You know what pH is? Eh? How acidic or basic? Our blood can become acidic or basic depending on our what we are doing. Blood can become acidic when we are doing something. We are actively doing something, running. Okay, those kind of things. Our blood pH can change. So those are some internal stimuli. You can write the blood glucose, blood osmolarity, blood pH. Okay, those are some internal stimuli. Then, this is an important statement. Movement of organisms occurs as a result of irritability and coordination. In order to move as an organism, you need both irritability and coordination. For example, if I am walking on the floor like this, how many systems are involved? Your skeletal system obviously has your body weight. Your muscle system provides the way, sort of the force. Then, as I'm walking alone, I can feel things on the floor with the nervous system in the sensations in my feet. And then in my ears, I have an inbuilt in my ear, there's a way to detect the balance, right? To maintain my body balance. Because we as humans, we are like, I mean, our center of gravity is somewhere here. We are not very, our design is not a very good one. We are standing on two legs and we are very tall and thin. Yes. So we are very imbalanced. Okay. So anyway, whenever you are walking, you need the help of so many systems. You need the help of so many systems: muscular, skeletal, nervous. Yes, all the systems get involved. Therefore, you need to have a coordinated effort. So, what do you mean by coordination is that all these systems are working together. All these systems are working together. Understood? So, let's finish this and we'll have a small chat afterwards before we enter into the chemical basis. Okay, then adaptation. Okay, let's see. Adaptation is a peculiarity, is like a specialization, peculiarity of structure, physiology, or behavior. So it can be something that is happening on the body of the organism. It could be something that is happening in the functioning. I hope you can remember what is physiology. Okay, or behavior, how they behave, how they run, how they move, how they sleep, how they hunt. Everything can change to promote the likelihood of that organism's survival and reproduction in a particular environment. If you want to live or survive in a particular environment, you have to change. For example, if you want to pass the A level exam, your everything has to change. Your structure, not much. Your physiology has to change. Your behavior has to change. What are you adapting for? To become the best the studying version of you. For example, then in these early ages, it is difficult for you to sit on the chair and the table for a long time, particularly in a class. You get backache, your bottom hurts, yeah, you get sleepy, okay, then you can't pay attention. But with time, if the backaches go away, you can pay attention, you can study for a long time without getting headaches, right? Your body is adapting. That is because you are you are sort of changing according to what you need to do. Okay, Metin. So I have given some examples. Sunken stomata in xerophytes. What do you mean by xerophytes? Xerophytes are plants adapted to live in low water concentration, sort of desert drought conditions. These two I want to explain. Viviparity in mangroves, this is something that is shown here. Viviparity, can you see I hope you can see. Here, this is a young plant that is still connected to the mother plant. This is also another young plant that is connected to the mother plant. Let's write down what is viviparity. Okay. In mangroves, viviparity in mangroves, you can say seeds germinate, seeds germinate while still attached to the mother plant. That is viviparity. Seeds germinate while still attached to the mother plant. Okay. Can anyone tell me why do mangrove plants do this? So this was earlier a seed. From the seed you have gotten a small plant. Can anyone tell me why do mangrove plants do this? Where do mangrove plants grow? Where do mangrove plants grow? Yeah, mangrove plants sort of grow in lagoons, no, right? In sort of lagoon-like areas, right? They grow. How? How do they grow? They grow. Sorry, they grow submerged in water. Yes, they grow sort of halfway submerged in water. So they usually have a layer of water. It could be mud, right? That is sort of for a few feet, they are covering their roots, this layer of water or mud. So imagine what would happen if they produce seeds and they drop like a normal tree. They imagine around a jack tree, all the jack seeds are falling down and they germinate, no problem. But imagine if the seeds are dropping down into this water, are they going to survive? No. So what they do is they make the seed germinate and become a small plant while still attached to the mother plant, so that when they drop down, they can still be above the water and uh, grow into a big plant. Okay, this is viviparity. That is an adaptation for their habitat, which is like in lagoons, those kind of swamps, muddy fields. Those are places where they grow. Then this one, splayed out foot in camels, that is pretty understandable, right? What is it doing? So by increasing, well, again, a pressure is equal to force divided by surface area, no? So if you want to reduce the pressure, what do you have to do? You have to increase surface area. So making your foot flat, the force is distributed over a wide area. Therefore, the camel can walk on loose sand. So imagine he didn't have these flat feet. Imagine with the how his thin his legs are. Mehemananti, right? He's going to just directly sink down into the sand. Okay. It's a good thing giraffes don't live in sand. They are sort of feet are kind of small, right? Thin, right? Giraffes' feet. They are unlike camels. Okay. Okay. Quickly we'll finish this. So reproduction. There's another definition. Ability to produce offspring for continuous existence of a species. So okay, so it's all good. We are just highlighting and doing nothing, but I'm going to send the paper, so you have to complete the paper at home. Okay. Finally, heredity and evolution. This is like your long-term goal as a living organism is to like your parents, they build houses, they collect properties and everything. They can we do all these things for you. That's like that. every living organism usually it's in their sort of programming that they help to make the next generation better. That is in our programming, right? Our genetic programming. So that's what they say here. All organisms have genes. Can you highlight the word? Genes that pass from one generation to the next and control specific physiological, that is functioning. Morphological means external appearance. Morphological means external appearance, and behavioral, of course, you know. Here, this is the definition. Ability of organisms to change over time as a result of genetic modification is evolution. Okay, so your genes change over a long time period, leading to evolution. That means the next population is going to be better than this one. Okay, because why? All the good genes were passed. Okay, so step gradually the population as well as, so that the next generation is usually stronger. It doesn't I mean it doesn't have to be always stronger. Could be smarter, could be more resistant to diseases, faster. Okay, could be those, any of those good characteristics. Okay, so that's it. So then this paragraph is the final conclusion of this lesson. Okay, read. Many non-living entities may have one or more of these characters, but not all of them. For example, crystals can grow, waves can move. So waves can show a bit of motion. Crystals such as salt crystals, have you ever gone to a salt turn where you make our salt that we eat? Right? When you keep the seawater in this collection sort of tanks for a long time, when the sun, due to the sun's heat, the water gets evaporated and the salt crystals get slowly bigger, bigger, bigger. So does that mean is it a living organism? Yes. So this is the important part. Okay, listen carefully. Only living organisms display all these characteristics simultaneously or at some point during their life cycle. Only living organisms display all these. If you were a living organism, if you have to define something, at this moment or any time during their life, they should have exhibited all of these characters. For example, right now you are showing what? You are having metabolism. You are having probably development if you have enough protein. Okay, then you are irritability and coordination. You are becoming irritated by this session that is now almost 9 p.m. Right? Coordination, probably you are writing with your muscular and skeletal and nervous system. Yes, not reproduction right now happening. Okay, evolution is a long term process, so when you have children it might happen. Okay, so I want you to write down the definition of a living organism. What do you mean by a living organism? So go through these things. Okay, go through these things. Shall we write down here? A living organism, a living organism is an entity, that show all characteristics of living simultaneously or at some point during their life cycle. If I read again, a living organism is an entity that show all characteristics of living simultaneously or at some point during their life cycle. Yes, plant tropism. Plant tropism is, so many things are called as plant tropism. Plants grow towards the light. That is called phototropism. Okay. Yeah, those are all irritability. Thing if you can respond to a certain thing in the environment, that is irritability. Sorry, it could be responding to something in the internal environment, that is inside the body, or external environment. It is irritability. Okay. A living organism is an entity that show all characteristics of living at once, sorry, simultaneously, or at some point during their life cycle. This is the final take home message. You are already home, I know. Message of this first lesson, that is introduction to biology. Okay. Any questions? That's it. That is introduction to biology over. We added some things that is from other places in the syllabus. That's why it took some bit longer than I expected. But anyway, we now have a very complete, thorough idea. I will. Anyone who needs this, I can send this to the group as well as a PDF. Okay, but I didn't complete it as much. Okay. Okay. Then shall we move on to the second lesson? Okay, I for the proper batch I used to have a prepared presentation that I usually do. You can watch it on my YouTube channel if you have time, because I don't think we have time to get into sort of a introduction into A level biology. But at this point, you have decided, you know, what are the career opportunities available, what are the what you can become by doing biology. So why do you need to do it in English medium? Why do you do it? Why do you need to do biology, right? And what you expect? What are the difficulties you are going to face? All these things I have talked about. I will talk in upcoming sessions as well. Today we'll try to cover the content. Haritha? Okay. Right. Any questions? So, shall we continue on to the second lesson? Chemical and cellular basis. Any questions? No. Any disadvantage of doing A levels privately? Not really. No, no disadvantage. But you should have a good management of your time, as well as one of the benefits of going to school is the term tests. I think there are two main benefits of going to school rather than whatever you are being taught. If you're being taught, that's good. There are two main benefits of a school in A levels. That is, first thing, you can do the practicals, hopefully, if you are allowed, if you're having a good relationship with your පොඩි fit එකේ ඉන්නවා නම් with the teachers without getting them overly irritated by being absent, you can get some practicals there. That is one advantage. The second advantage is term test. Term tests you can face, particularly the grade 13 term tests are sort of similar to the A level exam. So one of the advantages of going to school is you can, doesn't matter if you don't get marks or they don't give you marks or they are difficult or the papers are too difficult or they made them using out of syllabus content, doesn't matter. That exam exposure is something important, something that could be important. But the other thing is, by not going to school you are going to have a lot of free time. So up to you to control that time in a very productive way, so that you can utilize it very productively. I mean, so it is very easy for a private candidate who is doing A level at home to become distracted because he doesn't know how everyone else is doing, right? Because you need to have an idea about the competition. That is why it's important in the class that you are going, you need to have a regular exam. So once these sessions are over, so that you can join with my normal theory as well, no, I'm going to have a small exam, maybe 1.5 hours. Okay, so it's not to sort of make you uncomfortable, but you need to be constantly aware. දැන් මම මගේ level එක මොකක්ද compared to your friend, because I don't want to stress you out, but the point is this is a competitive exam. You have to do better than the other person, because if you're going to medicine, there's a limited number of entrances, only about 2,400. Okay, so somehow you have to get there. Okay, so it's a competition. Whatever, how much you sugarcoat it, it's a competition. But do not get stressed about it. Many people do it too. I mean, many people uh, can manage this if you follow a proper stress-free approach. Okay, so that is up to you to keep it stress-free. I will do my best to help you understand and study and how to master writing questions, answering questions. Sorry. Okay. Uh, Elemental composition of living matter. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So since the lesson is called as chemical and cellular basis, we need to have a basic idea about the chemistry of life. Okay. Let's see. There are about 92 naturally occurring elements in the Earth's crust. So, you know, I think in the periodic table, there's more than 120 or 30 something. Ne? So, all those elements are not naturally found. Some of those elements were made in a lab, artificially. So, because they are so unstable, they can't exist naturally. So, we have to make them. Okay, but naturally existing, there's about 92. Write it down. Of which about 20 to 25% of elements are essential to continue healthy life and reproduction. You need to remember these numbers. For example, particularly, we need about 25 elements for our healthy life. Plants usually require about 17. Okay, plants usually require about 17. Then, if you draw like a pie chart, you will be able to see, okay, that about 96% of the, why can't I draw a row mark? Okay. Okay, this is the editor. Okay, right. All right. If you take your all the elements in your body as a composition, I mean a pie chart, 96%, so is going to be just 4 elements. There is oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. 96% is going to be these 4. Then calcium, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur, pay close attention, make up most of the remaining 4%. So can you understand this? In this out of these 25 essential elements, 4 make up 96%. What are the 4? Oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. So how many are remaining? 21 is remaining. 21 more elements are remaining. Out of them, you have a comparatively large amount of calcium, phosphorus, potassium, and sulfur. That's why we say most of the remaining. So you remove another further 4. How many more you do have? 17. Okay. So you need to have another 17. Okay. This is something I added. Okay. This section you don't exactly need. Okay. 96.3 and this section, right? But what I want you to know is this. Okay. What are the other elements that you find in small quantities? So after sulfur, you have sodium, chlorine, magnesium. You have boron, cobalt, copper, chromium, fluorine, iodine, iron, molybdenum, manganese, selenium, silicon, tin, vanadium, and zinc. Count and see how many do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay. All for 25 is listed here. Okay. Sometimes it can be questioned in a term test paper maybe. So better to keep in mind what are the, you can just have a rough idea, molybdenum, selenium, silicon. Okay. All 25. Sleepy. What about online people? How are they going to write the exam? So what I did for 27 people, I usually deliver the paper to them, and I want you to keep the paper sealed until, I mean, that is up to you. Okay. So how I hold exams for online people, if you're a bit closer to Nugegoda or Negombo, you can come and write physically just for the exam. Or what I do is I deliver the paper in the sealed envelope that you are going to get, similar to how you get tutes. Then on the day of the exam, we are going to start a Zoom meeting. And then I want you to open the package in the Zoom meeting with the video on. Okay, that is going to make sure you are being faithful. But my main goal is to improve your paper writing skills. Okay, so for that, one thing is time management. So if I can make you get the paper exactly at the exam time, that is going to help you with time management. Okay. So let's see. I will announce the exam 1 week before. I did practicals in class, okay, for the identification of biological molecules. So that recording is available in my YouTube channel. I'll send after. You can go and watch it anytime. It's a public video. After you have completed this uh, biological molecules, you will be able to use it. Yes, I demonstrated all the practicals. Hurry. Okay. So my plan is let's finish water at least today. Okay. Physical and chemical properties of water important for life. Okay. This sentence contains some things. It's a vital inorganic molecule. Of course, out of the biological molecules that we are talking about, water is the only inorganic molecule that we have to talk about. Inorganic means it doesn't contain carbon. No, it doesn't contain carbon. Life could not exist on this planet without water. There are two main reasons. Okay, please write down. It's a vital chemical constituent. It's a vital chemical constituent of the living cell. That means for many reactions, you need water as a reactant. Water as a reactant. For example, can you tell me a water including reaction? Carbon dioxide plus water, you can have C6H12O6 plus oxygen gas. What is this? This is Yeah, what is this reaction? මේ photosynthesis නේද? 6 carbon dioxide, 6 water දැම්මොත් you are going to get a glucose. Okay, this is how water acts as a chemical constituent. Second one, provides a biological medium, provides a biological medium, provides a biological medium for all organisms. Provides a biological medium for all organisms. Cut, you're not sleeping, rest. Few more. So, if you are continuing to join online, you need to develop the skill of remaining in the class until the end, because I believe joining live is the best, because due to any connection issue, if you are forced to watch a recording, that's fine. Okay, even if I have a lecture recording to watch, even I don't watch it properly. I either if I get missed a certain ward class or something that is done by our consultants to us, probably I'm missing them due to classes, I don't effectively watch the recording thing, right? I either fast forward it or skip it, and then it's not very effective as the real thing, live version. Okay, so join the class live as much as possible. Okay, most of the above properties are based on the chemical structure of the water molecule. Physical and chemical properties of the water molecule provide the ability to render the vitality. Water molecule is a small polar angular molecule. Hurry, let's draw a water molecule. Let's draw a water molecule. In chemistry, you will understand. Even I can explain, right? Why do we say water is an angular molecule? It is because of this. So you know, of course, water has oxygen atom, and it is connected to two hydrogens by two covalent bonds. What do you mean by a covalent bond? Yes, a covalent bond is a bond where electrons are exchanged, sort of. Electrons are shared, no? Electrons are shared. So, when you are making this covalent bond, there's one covalent bond, one covalent bond. So, oxygen gives one electron for each of the bonds. Oxygen has how many electrons in its outer shell? What do you think? Do you know this? Oxygen has how many electrons in its outer shell? Oxygen has how many electrons in its outer shell? 6. Yes. So one is here bonding, doing the in this bond, one is here in this bond. So 4 is going to be here. What's going to happen is these are electrons, they are negatively charged. So they are going to push on each other, so that if the molecule is supposed to be straight like this, because of the electrons, it gets bent like this. Okay, that's why we say water molecule is an angular molecule, polar angular molecule. Everything other than what I want to have is getting erased. Okay. Okay. Then you need to remember the angle. It's 104.6. So 0.5, sorry. 4.5 degrees angle is there between the two covalent bonds. Quickly draw this. And then, okay, hold on. Then this word, why do we call it a polar molecule? This is something to do with a property that we call as electronegativity. Electronegativity. If you take the electronegativity series, I think it is fluorine that is the most electronegative. Then it is, I think, is it chlorine? I can't exactly remember. Is it then oxygen, then nitrogen? I can't exactly remember the electronegativity series. If you compare these two elements, oxygen and hydrogen, of course, oxygen is more electronegative than hydrogen. What do you mean by electronegative? It is able to attract electrons towards itself. So what's going to happen is, This electronegative in higher oxygen is going to attract the electrons towards itself of this bond, of this covalent bond towards itself. So it is going to get what we call as a slight negative charge because its electrons are closer to it. He is having the electrons closer to himself, slight negative charge. Then, because the electrons are away from the hydrogen, this guy is going to have a hydrogen is going to have a slight positive charge. This hydrogen is also going to have a maybe delta positive. Okay, slight chuttai, not complete positive. Okay, it's a slight positive and a slight negative. Okay, so from this side also he is getting a slight negative. So this is what we call as polar, right? Within the molecule there's a charge distribution. Within the molecule there's a charge distribution. Quickly draw this in the space. Quickly draw your water molecule. Okay, so draw your polar angular water molecule. Then please introduce these because this is not a chemistry paper. You need to believe that your examiner doesn't have any knowledge in this. So what you have to do is you have to label these things. Okay, you have to label these things. Why is it so difficult to erase? Okay, so you have to introduce. This symbol indicates partial negative. Partial negative. So draw the diagram and introduce. This symbol indicates partial positive. Partial positive. Partial negative and partial positive. Partial negative and partial positive. Okay. When describing hydrogen bonds, okay, so the next thing we'll talk about is actually hydrogen bonds. Okay, we'll come there. Okay, did you draw this? Okay. Then there's a definition. They can ask you what is polarity. What is polarity? They can ask you is an uneven charge distribution within a molecule. Right? People are not asleep, right? Okay. It's 9:30. In a water molecule, the oxygen atom is slightly negative and the hydrogen atom is slightly positive. Yes. So this is what is going to give the polar nature. Okay. So this shape you need to be able to draw in the exam. This shape you need to be able to draw in the exam. Okay. The angular nature and the polar nature of the hydrogen. Sorry, the water molecule. With attractions between the slightly polar hydrogen atom of one water molecule and the slightly polar oxygen atom of adjacent water molecule are known as hydrogen bonds. That's a definition. These are weak. Slightly polar hydrogen of one water molecule and the slightly polar oxygen atom of adjacent water molecule are known as hydrogen bonds. These hydrogen bonds play a major role in maintaining all the properties of water. Okay. So that's a definition of hydrogen bonds. Then what do we have to do is we have to demonstrate in liquid water how hydrogen bonds form. Okay, in liquid water how hydrogen bonds form. So you can draw an oxygen and it can have two covalent bonds like this, and you can have hydrogens. Okay, then you can have another oxygen that is kind of like here, and you can have another oxygen that is kind of like here. Okay, then we'll add bonds. Hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. Okay, then what's going to happen? We need to add their polar nature, slightly polar, slightly positive, slightly negative, slightly positive, slightly negative, slightly positive, slightly positive, slightly positive, slightly negative, partially positive. Polar nature added. Okay. Then what do you need to indicate next? You need to show the hydrogen bonding. So hydrogen bonding you can indicate it's a secondary interaction. Keep in mind, it's what we call as a secondary interaction. In chemistry, you will learn what do you mean by a primary interaction is okay. A primary bond or a primary interaction is this covalent bond. It's a primary bond. This covalent bond is a primary bond. Then ionic bonds, they are primary bonds. Secondary interactions are interactions or bonds between molecules, not within the molecule, but between molecules is known as a secondary interaction. So here there is going to be an attraction between this slightly negative oxygen and slightly positive hydrogen, between the slightly negative oxygen and slightly positive hydrogen. Yes, that is called hydrogen bonds. Those are called as hydrogen bonds. So you can draw an arrow, right? These are hydrogen bonds. These are hydrogen bonds. Okay. These are hydrogen bonds. Hurry. Okay. So can you draw this? I think take just a rough sketch and you can complete it later. Properties of water arise due to attractions of different water molecules. When the water is in liquid form, its hydrogen bonds are very fragile. Bonds form, break, and reform with very great frequency. That's what I told you. Okay. These hydrogen bonds are not primary interactions. They don't have the strength of a covalent bond. I think they are very, I mean, I can't remember how much. I think 1/20th of a covalent bond or something. Very weaker than a covalent bond. So they are able to break very easily, and they form very easily. They break and reform. They break and reform. Right? That's why your liquid water has that flowing nature, right? And that sort of trickling nature. Have you seen how from a tap, how a drop of water falls, right? That sort of all these connections are giving the unique behavior of water. That is due to hydrogen bonding. Very important property. Okay. The properties of water arise due to attractions of water molecules, basically due to hydrogen bonding. Okay. Four major properties of water are there to maintain life on Earth. Okay. Four major properties of water are there to maintain life on Earth. Okay. So at home you can write down. The first one is cohesive behavior. You can fill here. First one is cohesive behavior. First one is cohesive behavior. Okay. Then there are some definitions. So what do you say? Do we want me to finish water within today, or do we finish it next week? What can? Then it's going to adapt to the workload for next week. What do you say? Suggestions? Do you want me to finish water today? There are four properties of water remaining. Let's finish today. Okay. Anything else? Any other ideas? Okay. Let's just go ahead. Ne? It will be an additional 15 minutes. Okay. Okay. So cohesive behavior, okay, is one of the most important properties of water that is going to give one of the, I mean, some of the properties of water that are so important for life. For example, in this tree, I'll explain how cohesion is working. Okay, so let's see. Attraction between water molecules, it's a definition, okay? Please highlight this. Attraction between water molecules due to hydrogen bonding is known as cohesion. So, what you can say is, you can write here, hydrogen bonding is water, sorry, hydrogen bonding is water, water attraction is called cohesion. Water attraction is called cohesion. Okay, that is because of hydrogen bonding. So this is a H bond. Yes, this is the H bond. Then attraction between water and other molecules is known as adhesion. Adhesive, it's like a glue. Yes. So you can say water with some other molecule. That is cohesion. I'm sorry, adhesion. This is adhesion. Water and other substance is called as adhesion. Water and other substance is called as adhesion. Both of the above properties of water allow it to act as a transport medium. Very important. Okay, so this is what's happening. I'll explain this diagram. Okay. Due to the cohesion between water molecules, water and dissolved substances such as nutrients transport through vascular tissues, xylem and phloem against gravity. Adhesion between water molecules and cell walls helps in the conduction of water and dissolved substances. So, how can you understand? Cohesion between water helps them to move upwards. Adhesion between water and the cell walls. Okay, listen very carefully. This is something interesting, and this is something you will need when we are studying biology, the plant form. That is the fourth lesson. Particularly when we are talking about the how xylem. You know the composition of xylem, right? Xylem is mainly water and minerals. When when the plant needs to take water and minerals into up higher parts of the plant, it doesn't have a heart, no? Like, so you have a heart to pump blood everywhere in your body. A plant doesn't have a heart. So the plant has to rely on physical forces, physical I mean sort of passive forces, that are things that are happening without like a muscular pump to pump it. So what's going to happen? Listen carefully. So you can see in the soil there is water, and this water is going to be taken into the root. Then it's going to enter into the xylem in the stem. Okay. What's going to happen is from the plant leaves, there is water going out. Okay. There is water going out. When the water is going out, what is that process is called? That is called as transpiration. Do you remember this? Like from the plant leaf, you can lose water. That is called as transpiration. Okay. So when water molecules are leaving, okay, the next water molecule is connected to the next water molecule, the next water molecule, and the next water molecule by hydrogen bonds. So imagine you are in a well. You are in a well. So someone is pulling you up by sort of holding you by your hand and pulling you up. That is something like the water molecule above pulling the water molecule below. Okay, it's like this. The water are connected by hydrogen bonds. Okay, so you are being pulled upwards by the cohesion. Then what is the role of adhesion? What is the role of adhesion? Can you see in this xylem wall has sort of, there's a xylem wall. What's going to happen is, due to the attraction between water molecules and the xylem wall, the water molecules are also kind of connected to these walls as well, somewhat connected. It's like this. So now imagine you are in a well, in a well, okay, well. So what you are doing is your hand is being pulled by another person. Your hand is being pulled by another person by here, right? So this is your hand, and someone is holding your hand and pulling you up, right? Someone is holding your hand and pulling you up like this. Okay, he's on the ground, on the outside. Okay, someone is pulling your hand. So you are being pulled upwards. You are the water molecule. What you are doing is you have your legs on the two sides of the well, so that you don't fall down on the well. So can you understand this force that is pulling you up is cohesion? Your legs that are preventing you from falling down is adhesion. Your legs that are preventing you from falling down is adhesion. Can you understand that? Yes. That is how water is transported up tall. Sometimes you learn that giant sequoia tree can be hundreds of meters tall. So that's how plants transport water, by cohesion and adhesion. Okay, then the second property, second thing that is coming under cohesion is something called as surface tension. Okay, something called as surface tension. Surface tension means, okay, listen. It is also something happening due to cohesion. Okay, in an aquatic system, upper surface molecules are attracted by lower molecules and it forms a water film. Please note down this word. I mean, you need to, when you are writing, you have to definitely write the word water film. Okay, so after this, you have a homework to do. Okay, after we finish water, you have a homework to do, that is to write a essay on properties of water important for life. Properties of water important for life. I want you to write a essay. Okay, properties of water important to life. Got it? Okay. Right. So that is, what is the example? Water skater. So I have given here a water skater. This is a water skater. These kind of insects, because of their very low weight, they can stand on water. So this is a water skater. This is a water skater. Okay. Because they don't have enough weight to break the surface tension. Because of the cohesion, between water molecules, they can stand. So imagine this is the water surface. Water molecules are connected by hydrogen bonds. And also the water molecules below are interconnected by hydrogen bonds as well. Everyone is interconnected by hydrogen bonds. So it is like a film of water, water film. Okay. Any questions? Okay, let's move on to the second property, ability to moderate temperature. Water can absorb or release a relatively high amount of heat energy with a slight increase in its own temperature. Okay, what do you mean by that? So, because I mean, whenever water, you provide a lot of heat to water. I mean, when you provide heat to water, it takes a lot of heat to change the temperature. What do you mean by the temperature? The measurement of the, I mean, the measurement you get from putting a thermometer, if you want to change it, you have to apply a lot of heat. That's why in our country, most of the energy wastage is in boiling water to make tea, no? Okay, right? Because water is very difficult to boil because it has a important property that we call as high specific heat. The definition is absorb or release a high amount of heat energy by a slight change in its own temperature. This is the called as high specific heat. Therefore, water will act as a thermal buffer. Okay, thermal buffer means what? In your living body, or even if you take like a water, I mean a pond or a tank of water. Tank means like a vavak, right? A tank of water, right? The temperature won't change much because your water is able to absorb a lot of this heat and maintain its temperature. You will learn about this in physics. Then the next property that is coming under this ability to moderate temperature is high heat of vaporization. You can lose a lot of heat with a small amount of water loss, with a minimum loss of water. Really, an organism can release much heat energy. Okay, body surface is maintained as a cool surface, prevents from overheating. So then you need to remember what are the examples for high heat of evaporation are these. Evaporation of sweat in our body helps to maintain our body temperature. Plants do something called as transpiration, where water droplets leave from the plant leaf. Okay, that is called as transpiration. Helps to maintain the plant body as a cool surface. Okay, so before I forget, I want you to write an essay. Okay, before I forget, if you don't have an essay writing book, uh, take one and please note down the homework. Take down and please note down the homework. Okay, this is the note homework, and this is the note underwater we are going to make. Underwater means under the topic water. Okay, I'm going to write here. Okay, shall I write on the board? Homework. Essay. You are going to write the first essay in your A-level life. Briefly describe functions of water if I describe. Sorry. Hold on. Physical we will describe physical and chemical properties of water important for life. This is your homework. I will send the marking scheme. Okay. Briefly describe the physical and no, I don't check the essays. I will send the marking scheme. I will send the marking scheme. Okay. Note down. Briefly describe the physical and chemical properties of water important for life. Usually, how long must the essay be? There is no fixed length. You have to write all the things that you have to write under the essay topic. In the resource book, what all the things that you have under particular topic, you have to write under the essay. Not the keywords, you have to write full sentences. In an essay, you have to write full sentences. All the keywords must be included definitely. Okay. I will send a marking scheme. Give this a try. Give this a try, and then you can refer the marking scheme and check yourself. Okay. So it's something that you have to practice by writing again and again. That's what we are going to do from the first day onwards. Right. I'm going to be guiding you on writing essays from day one onwards. So give this a try. This essay a try. Include all the things that is given in the resource book. Right. Write everything that is in the resource book for this topic. Then you will be safe. But later, I will train you to manage your time. You only get 30 minutes for this essay. An essay question is only 30 minutes. Okay. So this is the first essay of your bio carry. Okay. Right. Come back to the tute. Expansion upon freezing. This is the third property. Generally, an increase in temperature of any substance, okay, reduces their density, and on the other hand, a decrease in temperature increases the density. Can you understand this? When the temperature increases, density decreases, because why? The molecules start to vibrate, no? So that more space comes is produced between the molecules. So that density is what? Mass divided by volume. When volume increases, density decreases. So that's what happens when temperature decreases. When temperature increases. When temperature decreases, the volume also decreases, therefore density increases. Okay. Okay. So what are they saying? But water has a very interesting property. I will have made a short YouTube video about this as well. In water, something interesting happens because water is going to have its maximum density. Remember this very carefully at 4 degrees Celsius. Okay. Water has maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. When water temperature goes below 4 degrees Celsius, okay, it starts to expand and its density decreases. When the temperature of water goes below, it begins to freeze and forms a crystalline acid called ice cubes. Okay, since water, so what can you say? In 4 degrees Celsius, can you tell me the state of water? This is liquid, no? But liquid water is more dense than ice. Liquid water has more density than ice. So, what is going to happen? The liquid water is going to stay at the bottom. Ice is going to float on the liquid water. Understood? So, that happens because at 4 degrees Celsius, water has the highest density. Then afterwards එයාගේ density එක අඩු වෙනවා. Because why? The water molecules are packaging nicely to form ice cubes, ice molecule, sorry, ice pieces of ice. So this can be a very important property in polar regions. Can you see? If you look under the water in this sort of a, this is like a glacier. This is like a glacier. You know glaciers, the things that are floating on the ocean, right? In Arctic regions. So you can see there are so many jellyfish, plankton, fish, whales. Everybody is under the water is able to survive because this ice layer can act as like a cover. It can insulate this ice cap, this floating ice. So people who like the ice, walruses, polar bears, they can live on the ice. But on all the people, all the organisms in the ocean, they can also survive because the ice acts as like a uh, insulating layer, keeping them slightly warm. The water is staying as liquid. Got it? So they both parties are happy. උඩ ඉන්න අය, යට ඉන්න අය, everyone is happy. Okay. This is what we call as expansion upon freezing. So hands up, everyone here is in one of our groups, right? Either my main announcement community, or you are anyone who's not in any WhatsApp group, hands up. Send me your number personally. Anyone who's not in any WhatsApp group? Okay, send me the number to me personally in the chat. Anyone who's not in any WhatsApp group relating to my classes? Okay, send me your numbers in the chat. You will be added, okay? Anyway, let's come to the final property. Okay, let's come to the final property. Okay, number 7. Okay, so my request at this point, okay, listen. Whatever I send to, whatever announcements, documents, videos I send to the groups, please use them and do not or you can archive karan or do not mute the groups. I will be announcing class times, then new lesson starting, new tutes, whatever new videos, everything will be sent to these groups. So do not mute them and also be aware of whatever I'm sending to these groups. Harida, that is something I have to train. 27C people also, they have muted the groups and they don't know if when the class is happening, what is happening in the class. Okay, so keep that in mind. Always keep in touch with the groups. Okay. Hari, come to the final property. Versatility as a solvent. Versatility as a solvent. Water is a very versatile solvent. What do you mean by solvent? What do you mean by a solvent? That is, it is able to dissolve so many different types of substances. Okay. Okay, anyone else who's not in groups, please send me. Okay, right. Yes, we'll add everyone. By the way, how did you get the links if you're not in groups? Anyway, somehow even if you found it in a different whatever group, that's good. Okay. Because you are here, that means the important thing is that you joined. That is very nice. Okay. Okay, it's almost 10. Versatility as a solvent. Versatile means you are able to do many things. Okay, please highlight. This ability is given to water due to its polarity. Polar molecules, so many things can dissolve in water by forming bonds with water. Polar molecules such as glucose. Non-polar ionic. What do you mean by ionic? Sodium chloride separates into sodium and chloride ions when you dissolve it in water. Okay, so those kind of molecules, these ions, can easily form bonds with the water. Both polar and ionic, such as lysozymes. Lysozyme is a protein molecule. I have given here a lysozyme. Can you understand? Can you see this lysozyme molecule? Okay. Can you see this lysozyme molecule? All these these red and white people, red and white, these are water molecules. This purple thing that is inside is the lysozyme. Can you, if I zoom in, you can see there are hydrogen bonds. Can you see here, here? That's how this lysozyme dissolves in water. This is how lysozyme dissolves in water. What do you mean by something dissolving in water? That means it is being surrounded by water molecules and forming hydrogen bonds. Okay, it is being surrounded by water molecules and forming hydrogen bonds. So, because of the different areas of this protein, we can say lysozyme can act as both polar and ionic. Lysozyme can act as both polar and ionic. Understood? Lysozyme can act as both polar and ionic. Solubility depends on polarity. Polarity means you should have somehow a slight positive charge or a slight negative charge if you want something to dissolve in water. You will understand non-polar things do not dissolve properly in water. Such as oil. Oil is something non-polar. Okay, you have seen oil is not dissolving. No, it's as a separate layer. No? Okay, so oil do not dissolve. That's because it is non-polar. Clear? So that's what I wanted to cover within today. Then next week we'll go into the deep discussion of carbohydrates, lipids, proteins. We have talked about a lot about proteins and nucleic acids. Okay. Then at the end of this tute, as always in my tutes, I have included past paper questions. Okay. අපි ටක් ගාලා එක MCQ එකක් කරලා let's say goodbye. Okay. Let's do one MCQ, send me answers. Okay, you can do this as homework. It's very simple, basic structure and function unit of life. Okay. Can you tell me the answer to this one, this MCQ? Quickly tell me. The first organisms formed on Earth are? The first organisms formed on Earth. Recording for today's class will be sent to groups. Okay. If you are joining online, I will be adding it to the website as well. Okay, under the July course, if you have enrolled to my website, which is Guru Tharu Online, if you have enrolled to my website, I will be adding under July course 2028 theory, whether you are joining Thursday or Saturday, I will be adding this as day one up to speed program. Day one up to speed program. So you will be able to access this recording as well as the regular theory class recording as well. Taggal, let's do this MCQ. Okay, send me the answer. Yes. Okay. Send me personally even. First form organism on Earth are. Yeah. They were not able to fix their own carbon. Therefore, they were heterotrophic. So you have several answers. Then, did you have oxygen in the early atmosphere? No, it was actually they had volcanoes and a lot of sulfur in the air, right? No oxygen at all. So it's actually anaerobic. Anaerobic, there are two answers. And then what do you mean by eukaryotes? you can use algorithms having and organizing. They came late. For example, the upgraded version comes later because that has to be modified. So first, these are past paper questions. Okay, keep in mind these are past paper questions. Then please do this as homework. What is known as irritability? How many years ago did life originate? Please do this metabolism, growth and development. This is your note. Okay, you might think you don't do take notes. This is your note. This is how you revise. The resource book you have to be able to memorize and then answer question. This is your note. So write down what is metabolism, what is growth, what is development. Main vendors like food production can be sustainably maintained. Then mainly continue. These are all homework. Okay. Then this one, two characteristics that can only be seen in living organisms. Please do this one. And this MCQ. This MCQ. Yeah, that's it. Third statement regarding characteristics of organisms. Okay, all these are past paper questions. So now within this one, what is one day, you are now able to do past paper questions, MCQ, structured essays, and you have an essay question to write as well. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so now you have an essay question to write as well. So my advice is don't think about the length of the question, essay question. Write everything in the resource. Practice writing everything in the resource. Break paragraphs nicely and then write everything that you think is necessary to for this essay to be complete. Okay. Hurry. Okay. Then we'll have a small introduction. I mean, a small discussion about A levels and everything next class as well. My main focus is for you to, to cover everything for you so that you can continue the A level biology in a more confident way. Right? Don't keep in mind, okay, you join later. That doesn't matter completely at all because these are simple things, as you can understand. Simple concepts, just a small level, small step up from all levels. Okay, so let's keep working. Okay, so that's all I have to say. Let's just keep working. My advice is do not get distracted by what is important and what is not important whenever you are joining classes or continuing classes. Okay, if you understand, if you feel like there's being work done, then continue. Okay. Okay, then thank you for joining. Then good night. Any questions, if you have, you can ask. Welcome. Okay, good night. Okay, welcome. Okay.